to sell paper gold or to move on the sidelines. That's what happened when they saw this.
Hello, my Teaserking family. How are you?
The PPT and their agent bank insiders exposed to the physical markets commenced short covering into the herd. Now,
I'm listening to Mark McGuire try to explain why the spike in the gold went back down. And it's all a bunch of bullshit. It's all a bunch of Ponzi scheme, algorithms. And, you know, the real question that he never can answer, it's over his head, is why don't they just allow gold to go its merry way? Which is what I answer all the time, which is basically the mafia doesn't want you out of paper. So they set up all this rigged shit in the gold system with these derivatives. So if it starts going too high, people will realize that it has value, and they don't want people to understand that gold's really a very strong asset and it's real money. Then they would lose the thing. And that's what he never can really, he doesn't get it. So he starts explaining the algorithms did this and this did that and that did that. It's all meaningless bullshit. Get to the point, fella. It's because the U.S. and London does not want you in paper, doesn't want you out of paper into gold. That's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so. So let's look at football, I guess, first. We'll drift into economics. We can be stoic, we can be games, we can be whatever you want it to be. It's your class. So, the NFL, free pick is Denver, which plays tomorrow night. Oakland won 63-21. We had the under. 20 defense, 22 defense. What happened? Well, basically, San Diego doesn't show up. They have 4 turnovers, which leads to 4 touchdowns. It was 35-42-0 at half. I think it was 42-0 at half. Oakland didn't score on Minnesota. San Diego mailed it in. Question is, why did San Diego mail it in? Why? They had a chance for the playoff. And the coach got fired. So let's take a look. Who is this Brandon Staley guy? Which is what I've been trying to figure out. Brandon Staley. Coaching career. Brandon Staley is an American football coach, born in 1982. He most recently served as the head coach for the San Diego from 2021 to 23. He previously served as the defensive coordinator for the Rams in 2020 and also served as an assistant coach for the Denver Broncos and the Bears, but it doesn't say when. As a coach, he was a Northern Illinois graduate assistant. Then he moves on from Northern Illinois to St. Thomas, which is Division 12. He was the defensive line and special teams coach. Then he went to Hutchinson Country Club, 2010 to 2011, the assistant head coach and defensive coordinator. He goes to Tennessee. Now he's a graduate assistant. So he's a graduate assistant in 2006 to 2008 at Northern Illinois. After these little stints, is now the graduate assistant at Tennessee in 2012. But he can't do anything there, so then he becomes a defensive coordinator and secondary coach at John Carroll. That's a Big Ten school, I think. Then in 2014 goes to James Madison, who's Division II defensive coordinator and linebackers coach. Then he's back at John Carroll as the defensive coordinator and secondary coach. So explain to me, 2013 defensive coordinator and secondary coach, John Carroll, goes to James Madison. 14 goes back to John Carroll. Obviously, he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing at James Madison. So now he's at John Carroll. Then he's the outside linebacker coach of the Bears 2017 and 2018. In 2019, he's the outside linebacker coach of the Broncos. Then he becomes the defensive coordinator of the Rams in 2020. So he's had basically no coaching experience. And then San Diego hires him as the head coach. Now, why would you go to the Rams for a defensive coordinator when they don't have good defenses? They have Aaron Donald. There's like let's look at the Chargers. Do they have a good defense? No. Do they have a good secondary? No. You have Khalil Mack, Bosa, and James on your defense, and your defense is a 22 defense. What makes him a head coach? He has no idea what he's doing. He keeps going for fourth down. Head coaching record, 24 and 24. Career 24 and 5. Did he even play? Staley went to the University of Dayton, started 2 years at quarterback for the Flyers, got into the team to a 16-5 record in 2003 and 4. He finished his career at Mercyhurst College, playing on the team but didn't do anything. Why would you hire this guy? He's the outside linebacker coach of the Bears and the Broncos. Hardly makes you a head coach. Being the defensive coach of the Rams in 2020, can we see what their stats were in 20? Yes, I have that, don't I? So let me look at my NFL thing, and if I lose, I hope I don't. I shouldn't lose you. I think it was a mouse problem. I would click into my spreadsheets. So 2020. And let's see what the Rams were in 2020. The Rams were 23 offense, 19 defense. So they were a 19 defense in 2020. Not bad. Certainly not one that would make me hire their defensive coordinator. And of course, you must take into account, you must say you got Aaron Donald. It's like the offensive coordinators at New England. Well, no, it was Tom Brady, not you. So you must take that into account. So he had Aaron Donald. What makes him a good head coach? Nothing. Why would you make him your head coach? Why would you take a coach from the Rams and make them a head coach? I get these offensive guys who, you know, like the Green Bay coach, he was at the Rams or something. We coached for Shanahan. The Miami coach was the towel boy for Shanahan and the 49ers. I get that. I'd rather have Saleh, the defensive coordinator of San Francisco, be my head coach at the Jets, and you see what happens. I never got that from this guy, that not only was the Rams not a great defense, but he didn't come in and make San Diego this great defensive team. I always wondered, where the fuck are they getting this guy from? And now I see. Nowhere. Then you wonder why it doesn't go well, because you shouldn't have hired him in the first place. Gold sitting at 2022, silver 23.86. Listening to Mark McGuire, it's all about the bullshit little, what do you call it? The algorithms. So if there's algorithms set up, if it starts moving, they start selling. It's not even a real supply demand for gold. And as I said, why is that? So again, the question is why? Who doesn't want gold to go up? And the only answer is the people in the paper money who can't compete. And again, economics comes back to competition. So nobody can compete with gold, so they don't want the price to go up. Otherwise, nobody sits there and makes the Mantle card or the Brady card not go up in value. The Montana's 125,000. Nobody sits there and says, you know what, we're going to put an algorithm. When you put it on eBay for 125, we're going to algorithm down to 25,000. We don't want it to go to 125. That's how ridiculous it is. Oh, wait, gold's starting to go up. We'll do algorithms to keep it down. What a bunch of horse shit that is, right? So anyway, let's get back to football. So Staley's gone. San Diego will be much better. Why they have Stick is beyond me. 4 turnovers, just 63-21. So fuck the under. I had 17-13. So I mean, there's no way you can predict that. It's a lot of turnovers. Oakland really played strong. San Diego didn't show up at all, even though they were still mathematically in the playoff hunt. They have a lot of bad players. They have a lot of players that don't want to play. This was a situation they quit. I would get rid of all these players. Now, Herbert had a broken finger, didn't play. Eckler I'd get rid of, and Bosa I would get rid of, and Khalil Mack I would get rid of. All the players that didn't try yesterday I'd get rid of, because this is the problem I have with these idiots not playing in the bowl games. They don't care. They're afraid to get hurt. Well, what's going to happen when you sign them in a game like yesterday? They're afraid to get hurt. Oh, I don't want to I might get hurt. Well, go play tennis. Go play golf. What the fuck you doing in football? Because you're going to get hurt in football. So with that said, let us check the line out first. Nothing really happened for the playoffs as far as this game. Pretty meaningless. So let's update our little scores and odds and look at the line. So we've got Cincinnati 3 now. Thank you. Dicking around 3, 2.5, 3, 2.5. Cincinnati 3, 40.5. Both unders. So this is the first game tomorrow. Both teams are under. Mini with an 18 defense. Just played a 3-0. They shut out Oakland, and here San Diego gives them 63 points. Mini must have a pretty good defense or not quit. Cincinnati and under with the 22 defense. Again, they don't have Burrow, which hurts them. Minnesota. Really, the only one questionable here is Jefferson from Minnesota. You heard his chest. I'm sure he'll play. He's an LSU guy. I'm sure Bobby will have a word with him if he doesn't play. So I'm assuming he plays. Mini with the 18 defense. So you've got Mullins against Browning. Browning's not going to do what he did last week. It was against Indy's defense, which is very weak, which is playing a zone where they don't pick up the guys in the zone. They just play a zone and everybody catches in front of them. They're an over team. Indy gives up 25 a game. So that's not what you get this time. So now you've got to say, what's the matchup? It's like poker. I had pocket kings last hand. Now I got 9-8 of diamonds. It's not the same hand. It's against a different player. So you've got to understand that. This is against a different player called Minnesota. Since both teams are under and both quarterbacks suck, I'm coming up with Cincy 20-16. So now I can play it two ways. I can take mini and 9, or I can take the under 40.5 to 46.5. Haven't decided yet because they both seem to be good bet. Minnesota's playing close. They need the game. Cincy needs the game. Now you think Cincy's all done. They don't have Burrow, which I do think they're all done without Burrow. And here comes Browning, and come on, he hasn't played in 5 years. He just threw short passes, and they ran 50 yards with the ball. You're not going to do that on mini. So he's going to throw these little short passes. He's going to be in for a big surprise against Minnesota. I think this is close. So my score is 20-16 Cincinnati, which means I can take mini and 9, or I can go under. So either one I think is a good spot, because I don't see Browning blowing them out. I don't see Mullins blowing them out. Dobbs, I don't know why Minnesota picked him up. The lack of backup quarterbacks is caused by these big. You're paying Kirk Cousins $35 million. You got a salary cap. I think the owners are the stupidest people in the world. They don't know what they're doing, but they fall on dumb luck. The fact that all these TV deals makes the owners all this money, and then they have the salary cap. So they're going to make $1 billion by doing nothing, by having the game on TV. And then they ruin the game by having all this stupid penalties, all these bad quarterbacks, all this. Let's do an instant replay. We got to make the game fair. Terrible roughing. I mean, you want people to watch or not, but you keep signing these big TV deals, so you make all this money, the owner. But let's keep the salary cap in it. And then we'll pay one guy $35 million and the rest $500,000. And when he gets hurt, we got crap out there. So it's like a Broadway play, and I don't know, some big star, Madonna or somebody, and then she's hurt, she can't play, and you got Joe Smith out there backing her up. Who's going to go to the play? It's really stupid. So anyway, that's what I got there. All right, Indy 1.5, 42.5 to Pittsburgh. Trubisky against Minshew. Minshew's much better than Trubisky. Pitt's an under team with a 19 defense. Indy's an over team with a 25 defense. So even with Minshew, I think they're a much better team with Minshew than they would be with Richardson. You can see Richardson lasted, 3 games, and then he hurt his hamstring, then he hurt his shoulder, and, he doesn't get, you can't run. I don't understand these quarterbacks. I saw Danny DeVito do it last week. You're the 4th-string quarterback, and you're running and taking hits. At what point do you realize you need to slide? They need you on the field. And these quarterbacks think I'm going to run ball now. So Indy 1.5, 42. I don't have a clue. I mean, Trubisky's so bad. Pitt with the 19 defense. Indy with a terrible defense. So I'm thinking the only real bet here is over 42.5, so I go over 36.5. I think that's the way to play it, because I can't trust Trubisky and Pitt. I can't take Indy in 4.5. I can't trust their defense. So it ends up where I think they'll score points. Minshew's been scoring. They're an over team and no defense, so Trubisky should score something. Let's put a total to this. Indy 24, Pitt 17. So that's a 41. I'll go with that. 24-17 Indy. I mean, it's hard to score a lot on Pitt. And Pitt should score on Indy, but Trubisky's so bad. Again, why is he the backup? You can't find anybody better. So that's what we got there. We've got Detroit 4.5, 47.5. That's our free play. Take Denver. I got Denver winning 34-24. The Lions with the really weak defense. It's really about a 27-28 defense. It's 24. But let's look at the last 5 Lion game and let's see what the defense is doing. Let's go back to that Bear game when the Bears almost beat them. Oh, let's go to San Diego. That's even better. So they give up 38 to San Diego, 26 to Chicago, 29 to Green Bay, 28 to New Orleans, 28 to the Bears. So let's look at the last 5 games. 40, 30, 70, 100, 130, 160. Divided by 5. It's 34 points, 33 points a game, roughly. So their defense is a 33. Let's call it a 30, not a 24, if we look at the last 5 games. All right, Oakland, 14, and Baltimore, 28. They gave up 24 to Carolina, 24 to Green Bay. So the only real good games they had is week 3 against Atlanta was a 6, and week 6 against Tampa was a 6. That's it. Otherwise, it's 20, 37, 20, 24, 38. So if we throw those 2 games out and then try to come up with it, it's probably closer to 28, 29. That's your Lion defense, not 24, which then makes them an over team, which is what I have. Now, how does Denver do against a 30 defense? They're going to blow it up. But if we look at Denver's defense, so let's reverse it. Yeah, let's look at Denver's defense. Now, they gave up 70 to Miami, right? So let's look at their last 5. The last 5, they gave San Diego 7, 22 to Houston, 12 to Cleveland, 20 to Minnie, 22 to Buffalo. And let's add KC 9, Green Bay 17, KC 19. So let's go back to KC. 20, 40, 50, 70, 90, 100, 120, 130. 130 divided by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 130 divided by 8. Jesus Christ. Well, it's in the teens, right? 10, 5, 50, 6. It's 16 a game. They're giving up 16 a game. And they're scoring in that time an 8, a 20, a 24, 24, 21, 29, 17, 24. So let's say they're scoring 22. It's 22 to 15. Denver. I got them as an even. So 22 is about right. The 20 is less. The 20 is about a 15, 16. So when we, throw out the 70 from Miami, the 35 from Washington, the 28 from Chicago, and 31 of the Jets, the first 5 weeks, we throw those out. Okay, they're getting used to Sean Payton. And now we look at Kansas City, Green Bay, Kansas City, Buffalo, Minnesota, Cleveland, Houston, and San Diego, and they're doing a 15, 16. So now we have a whole different perspective on this. We got a 16, we'll call it a 17 defense for Denver against a 30 defense in Detroit. And Denver's scoring, 22, 23, and Detroit's, let's say, in the 20s. What is Detroit? What were they offensively? 13, 33 against New Orleans, 22 against Green Bay, 31 against the Bears, 41. All right, so they're scoring upper 20s. So you got an upper 20, 25-30 Detroit, 22-17 Denver. Denver will rip this defense apart. That's what I got. 34-24 is about right. That's about what I see. Maybe Detroit gets 30, maybe 34-30. But you got to understand the change. Teams change. They get more used to Sean Payton. Maybe they had injuries. You can't look at the 70 against Miami if you even go back to it. I'm not sure you even go back all that way. It's sort of like what I do in college, where I just go back to the conference, right? Let's just look at the Big Ten games. Let's just look at the Sun Belt games instead of the Sun Belt when they played Michigan and Alabama or whatever, where it gets skewed. So I think Denver 34-24. I don't think you can trust Detroit with that weak defense. You got Russell Wilson and Sean Payton. They're going to eat you anyway. Perrine's running good. They got Judy, and they got some receivers. The only Alabama receiver I'm going to like right now, because he's on Sean Payton's team. I see Denver winning, and I get 10.5 all day. So that's your free play, Denver, and that's why your free play is Denver. So that's your night game tomorrow. So mini Cincinnati should be a close game. Should go down to the end, field goal. Browning, is he really going to beat you? I'm betting Minnesota's defense. I'm going to go probably under. Not sure. Can I trust Mullins? Let's see if Jefferson's playing. So if I go to my other NFL starting lineups on RotoWire that I always look at for just the meat of the lineup, Jefferson is questionable, but all Cincinnati looks good. So if Jefferson, I will bet you Jefferson plays tomorrow. There's no way. There's no way he won't. But if he does, if he doesn't play, it's even a better under, because many won't score as much. And everybody's healthy. Browning, Mixon, Chase. So Cincinnati's healthy. It's just it's Browning and not Burrow. Pitt and Indy, Taylor's out, and otherwise Trubisky against Minshew. And we'll look at Denver, Detroit. Everybody's there on Denver, and pretty much everybody for Detroit. Reynolds is questionable. I don't even know who he is. So that's your Saturday action. So now let's get to our let's go to the Sunday action. All right. Now, real quickly, those 3 Saturday games are all playoff games. In other words, mini Cincy both need it for the playoffs. Pitt, Indy, and Detroit and Denver all need it for the playoffs. Okay, so they're all playoff games. So they usually become closer. You like the dogs in the games. Teams don't normally quit like San Diego did last night. That's embarrassing. They had to fire the coach. The coach wouldn't resign, losing 63-21 to a team like Oakland with O'Connell, a quarterback, and the coach doesn't resign. Wow. What a pathetic coach. All right, so now let's go look at the 1 o'clock games on Sunday. We got Atlanta 33.5 to Carolina. On the other one, I'll check the weather and the injuries. 33.5. I think there's weather problems here. I got wind at 17 miles an hour in Buffalo, 22 miles an hour in Jacksonville the other day. Let's see. And I got rain in Philadelphia, Seattle. Well, we'll see. Again, this is Carolina. It shouldn't be that cold. Could be a little rainy. If anything, it helps Atlanta. They're a much better running team. So Atlanta lays 3. My spread 7. Again, Carolina's terrible with the 26 defense. Riddler against Young. Young's terrible. He's up there with Mac Jones. These Alabama quarterbacks. Yeah, keep drafting the Alabama quarterbacks. We got Atlanta with the 21 defense. They're an under team. Riddler, he's not very good. And then Young is a Z team. He's terrible with the 26 defense. So I look at I got to update my teaser trends because I didn't do it last weekend. I was in Germany. And this week, and or 2 weekends ago, I was traveling, and then last weekend. So I think I'll do it this afternoon or watching the games tomorrow. I got to catch that up. Anyway. By the way, I got a tip today. You won me a lot of money on your free picks. Thank you very much. And I got a tip. And so he says, I wanted to say it on your thing. There's some way to give me money, I guess, on here. I got to investigate. But I said, no, I'll tell everybody. So I certainly accept tips if I'm giving you winners on the free picks. Or as we go through this, we can play it like that. If you don't want to buy the action, you certainly can tip me when I make you money. I think that would be the appropriate thing to do, but that's up to you guys. That's why I say don't shoot the ghost laying the golden eggs. So I got a nice tip, and again, the bowls are $100 for all the bowls. And if you want the rest of the year, it's $200 for all the pros and all the college. So very affordable, considering it's $100 a week. And we're in week 15. We got 4 weeks of pros and then 4 weeks of playoffs. So that'd be $800 if you bought the weekly. So anyway, so it's a playoff game. Atlanta is the better running team. 21 defense isn't great, but okay. Carolina's just terrible with the 26 defense. I got Atlanta 24-7. I just think Atlanta, Carolina's a Z team. They're terrible. Atlanta should be able to run it down their throat. Their defense should be able to play well. Again, Atlanta's a mystery. They just, they settle for these Riddler at quarterback. What is that? You get them and you settle, and then here come all these quarterbacks, and they won't draft one. You watch. Carolina has the number 1 pick, right? Or maybe San Diego is trying to get it, but I don't know why San Diego would. They have Justin Herbert. They don't need Caleb. They don't need Bo Nix. That's not their problem. Problem was the coach. Maybe they should get Urban Meyer or something. So that's their problem. But Carolina, what does they do? They got this guy that sucks, this Steve Young. You could have Caleb or Bo Nix or Penix. You got Steve Young. These guys are 20 times better than Steve Young. But you're fucked because you're stuck with them, right? You've got to trade him, but why would I want Steve Young? He showed he's terrible, and I can get Penix, Bo Nix, and that. So I don't know what Carolina's going to suck for the next 10 years because they made bad decisions. New York Giants have Daniel Jones, who's terrible. DeVito, undrafted, is better, which shows you, do you really need that to draft the quarterback with the first pick? They very ever work out. Now, in this year's thing, you can go. I remember it was a few years ago, and it was Josh Rosen and Josh Allen and Darnell, and all of them suck. Right? They all sucked, and they drafted them in the first 5. Baker Mayfield, I think, was the first pick. So you thought you had it, and they all drafted them in the top 5, and all these franchises are fucked. Arizona was one of them, the Jets, and they still haven't learned. And you know, and here it is. This time is a whole lot better with Caleb Bonix and Penix and Hartman, and you got a whole slew. Believe me, they're going to be much better than that crap. Now, the question is the college offense. Is the college offense really so different from the pro offense? Now, the pro offense, everybody runs the same damn offense. It's ridiculous. I'm so sick of this wide receiver screen that loses 3 yards on 4th and 2. And I think you're probably seeing the end of these 4th down. Let's go for it every time. We remember how San Diego kept going for it. Remember the Minnesota game? There's a minute left in the game. It's 4th and 1 at their own 25, and the guy doesn't punt. And now he's not coaching anymore. Funny how stuff like that works. And the problem is you lose the team. This is the part that's not factored in. When you do that shit and your own team's questioning you, which they were, you lose the team. And that's exactly what happened. You know, the team's like, you know, fuck this guy. And this guy is fucking retarded. And they don't want to play for him. And that's it. You've lost the team. And they lose to Oakland by 60 points. Basically to get the coach fired, which is what they did. They did that on purpose. Because they know this guy's an idiot. So anyway, let's move back on. Cleveland, 38.5 to the Bears. Let's look at the Bears in the last 5. They've been playing some really strong defense. The Bears are 5-8 and really not out of it. They can go 9-8. The Vikings are 7-6. The Lions are 9-4. They beat the Lions. They could end up 9-8. The Lions could end up 9. The Lions are not going to win a game the rest of the year. They're going to lose to Denver. They're going to lose to Dallas. They're going to probably lose both Minnesota games. So let's look at the Bears. Let's go back the last 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They've given up 24 to New Orleans, 13 to Carolina. All right, that doesn't count. 31 to the Lions, 10 to Minnesota, and 13 to the Lions. So 10, 20, 50, 60, 80 divided by 5 is so it's about 16 a game with the 31 for Detroit. Otherwise, the best was 24. And then if you go a couple more, San Diego put up 30 on them, Oakland 12, Minnesota 19, Washington 20. So they've been pretty staunch for a while. Offensively, they got 28, 40, 40, and 40's 80, and 30's 110, 110, 2, 4, 6. 110 divided by, let's use this one. 140 divided by 7 is 20. So they're scoring 20, giving up, what did I say, about 17. 18, 20, 50, 60, 80 divided by 5. Yeah, so they're like a 16 defense. So why am I doing that? Because they're a different team now. Fields is back. They're scoring more. They're giving up. I mean, they just killed the Lions. I mean, it wasn't even close, 28-13. The Lions are scoring 30-some points a game and get 13 on them. You have to notice those things. That's the key. Let's see. Fields is back a few games. So they really, they put up, I don't think Fields played in this Carolina game. No, the grocery store guy was still there. I think so. Fields, I think, played against the Lions. Yeah. So that's the first game back for Fields. So he's played in both lines in mini. So he put up 26 on the Lions, 28 on the Lions, and 12 on the mini game, which is so 60. So he's averaging 23 a game. 40, 66, 22 a game. So Fields himself's averaging 22. Yeah, it makes him pretty much. So it's a 22-16 team. But let's look at it. He puts up 26 on the Lions and 28 on the Lions. Now here you have a real quarterback, Russell Wilson, and Sean Payton, a real coach. They're going to be in the 30s. So you can almost go over on this Detroit game as a little sidebar besides taking Denver and 10.5. So when I analyze it, I say there's 4 ways you can take Detroit, Denver, the over, the under. And in this case, you can really jump on Denver as the better team getting points, getting over 10. And then you can jump on the over just as easily because it's 47. You go 41. Detroit's going to give up 30, and they're going to score a little bit. So, so there's 2 good ways, but I think the Denver way is a little bit better. So Cleveland, now we've got Joe Flacco against Fields. We got a 21 defense with Cleveland and a 24. Let's look at Cleveland. Is Myles Garrett playing? This is the whole key. This is like, is Aaron Donald playing, right? So let's go to Cleveland. Grant Delpit is key. He's their safety from LSU, Bobby's guy, but he's got a groin. He's out. He's on IR. He's been doing well lately. I always know these LSU guys because they're the real pros, not the Alabama guys. I don't see him on there, so basically they're going to have to deal with Myles Garrett. But since Fields runs, it's more of a running, and then we'll have to check the weather. I don't think it's too bad in Cleveland, like 15-mile-an-hour winds. So what you have, I got the Bears 24-20. They've been playing well. Now, granted, they beat Detroit with the weak defense twice. They lost the one they should have won, and then they killed them last week. Be a close game, I'm sure. We're checking. The key is going to be Moore. Is Moore playing for the Bears? He's questionable. DJ Moore, limited in practice Thursday, questionable with an ankle. He'll play. Guy like him, he's going to play. Cleveland injuries. Really nothing. Myles Garrett was a full participant in practice, and he's probable. So, yeah, I'm sure he will play. Kareem Hunt's questionable. I doubt it, though. Nick Chubb, he's out. Jesus, they got so many players injured. So, Cleveland with Flacco is the question. Now, they held the Lions with a much better quarterback, Goff, who I still don't like, but Flacco sitting out of 2-3 years, all of a sudden comes in and he's Superman. I find that hard to believe. I think the Bears is a good dog here. I think they technically, mathematically, are still in the playoffs, even though they're 5-8. But I think they can still go 9-8, which is fine. So they'll be playing. So with this extra game now, the 5 that would not, you've won 5 games at this point. You're 5-8, I think. So you're like really, really out of it, or you're not really out. You can go 9-8. And with all these bad teams and all these 7-win teams, right now they're still in it, but you just don't. You just there's a reason you're 5-8. You're probably going to go maybe 7-11 or 7-10. But I got the Bears winning 24-20. Flacco, he just isn't. But I like the Bears defense. It's been playing well, so I'm going to play defense here. I'm going to go the Bears with Fields running, so the weather really won't bother them. We'll get to the weather in a minute. Right now we're getting the line, so I kind of get ahead of myself, but that's why I'm the professor. Green Bay 3.5, 42.5 to Tampa Bay. The weather's pretty mild in Green Bay. It's pretty mild here. It's 57 degrees here. So I'm not that close to Green Bay, but I'm in Detroit. I'm in Michigan, so it's not like I'm in the South. Green Bay's got a lot of injury question marks. So we have to see if these guys are playing or not. Tampa Bay's healthy. So we'll see. Mayfield against Love. Mayfield's much better. Love. See, now did Green Bay lose because of Love last week? Not really. He did come on at the end and got him the touchdowns. Give him credit. The guy who returned the punt and fumble is really the guilty party and should be cut. If I'm running a football team and a guy does that shit on a punt return, you're not returning punts anymore. Now, if you're really, really good, then I have to question why you were on the punt return team in the first place. But if you're going to fumble against the Giants when all you need is just catch the ball, you can go do that on some other team, right? So I like Tampa as the dog in this game. This is a playoff game. You get 9.5. Let's do a score. Tampa, Green Bay. I'm going to go 24-22. Tampa Bay. Something in the 20s. I think it's an over game. As long as the weather's there and Green Bay's, if everybody plays, I think you could go over versus taking Tampa 9.5. But I really don't see a threat of Green Bay blowing them out. I think it'll be close. I think it'll field goal at the end. And off you go. Tennessee and Houston. Tennessee 3.5, 36.5. You got a lot of problems on Houston. Stroud's questionable. The receivers are questionable. So there's 3 or 4 of their top receivers and quarterback are injured, are questionable. If they don't play, now you assume they play, but if they don't play, you got to go with Tennessee. Tennessee is, again, they need the game. Again, they're like the Bears. They got 5 wins. So if they can win, they get 9 wins. Houston's injuries. Noah Brown, the receiver's questionable. And Nico Collins, the receiver's questionable. And then we got C.J. Stroud. Ooh, C.J. Stroud's been ruled out. So we got the Davis Mills dude back. Davis Mills. No wonder this line's moving. So now this goes to an under. You've got this rough Tennessee defense, and you got no quarterback for Houston. And let's see what we got for Tennessee. Will Levis, probable with an ankle. So now we don't have Stroud. So we don't have Richardson. We don't have Stroud. And Steve Young is terrible. Again, these guys don't quite get to slide. They don't. Everybody slides, but I don't need to slide. Okay, good for you. Mills against Levis. Mills. It's funny. Levis is actually probably better than Mills. Probably the only quarterback he's better than. This has got to be an under game. 36.5, 42.5. Both with the 21 defense. We know how good Tennessee's defense is with Vrabel. Like Vrabel, he's like Saleh, the Jet coach. Good defensive mind, good defensive coach. Players like to play for him. So that's the most important, is you motivate the players, and you actually have a intelligent football mind that you know what the fuck you're doing as the coach. You understand what to do. And I don't think the San Diego guy knew what the hell he was doing. Not by going for it on fourth down. He lost the team. Lions is going to be next. He's going to lose the team if he keeps doing these fourth down bullshits. All right. Miami next is New Orleans, 5.5, 39.5. 39.5 to the Giants. Danny DeVito looked good. Is Carr playing? We will see. And we'll go into our other site where it's got all the starting offensive players. New Orleans, Cam Jordan, questionable. Michael Thomas out. Lattimore out. Other key players. Jamal Williams, I think, finally playing, the guy from the Lions. Had a hamstring for 10 weeks. Taysom Hill is questionable with a left-hand foot. He'll play. He's from BYU. Olave, questionable with an ankle. Did not practice, but I'm sure he'll play. Rashid Shaheed, wide receiver, questionable with a thigh. And Kendra Miller. So Carr is playing. He's no more questionable. Which is why the over went from 37-38 to 39. The Giants have no injuries to worry about. All right, so New Orleans 5.5, 39.5. And you've got Olave questionable and Shaheed questionable, but Carr playing. I think this is an over game. Back to the green. I think this is an over game. I think I like the Giants. I've got Tennessee on the under, Green Bay on the over. Cleveland, okay. So, judging the way the Giants played Monday night against Green Bay, they can score. I'm not sure they can play with them, but they can score. Let's give a score in the Houston, Tennessee. So now that Javis Mills, I'm going to say 17-6 Tennessee. I've got New Orleans 27-24 against the Giants. Carr's playing. They should be able to score. The Giants don't. They have a 24 defense. New Orleans with the 20 defense. But I like the way DeVito looked. He looks like when I watched Purdy in the beginning, I knew he was good. He'd go back, he'd throw the ball right on the guy's chest. Looked like he knew what he was doing. And I was right. He does. When I see DeVito, he goes back. Like the last touchdown they threw to win the game last week, he looked sharp. He hit the guy right in the chest. Good arm, good motion, good movement, good awareness. So I think he can score on New Orleans. And I think 39 is such a joke. It's such a low score. You have a lot of bad quarterbacks, but DeVito is not, and Carr are not two of them. I think Carr has a big day against this Giants. I think Olave will play. I'd be shocked. He played last week with the hurt ankle and did okay, and I think he didn't, if you don't re-injure it and you play in that game, you'll play in this game. It's a playoff game. They need it. And again, it's a 5-win Giant team who really isn't a playoff team. But with the veto, they're playing better. So again, they're going to be motivated. They beat Green Bay. They just got killed by Dallas twice. All right. So we like the over in that game. My favorites. The JETSs against Miami. Miami 9.5, 37.5. I got Miami 24, the Jets 18. Tag against Wilson. Let's check if Wilson's playing. Now that they're playing it, I think he is. I think he's okay. The Jets. Aaron Rodgers. They got the practice window open for him. He's questionable. Boy, would that be something if he got out there. And I think Brees Hall is questionable with an ankle. Yeah, I think he's fine. So Zach Wilson, I think, is fine. In Miami, it's Mozart and Hill again. Mozart with the knee. I don't know. We'll see. Tyreek Hill did not practice with an ankle. So maybe they're actually injured. I don't know. Put it this way. If Tyreek Hill doesn't play, we're taking the JETSs in 15.5. So fast your head will swim. At 37.5, I like it over. If Hill plays, I like this game over. As good as the Jets defense is, I think Miami still gets into the 20s, and I think the Jets, I saw some interesting plays, some crossing patterns to the backs for touchdowns last week, which have not been there. So I think they've changed their offense to make it a little more easy. I think Zach Wilson, a little more BYU, and that'll be very good for them. So if they would open it up and let him play the BYU playbook, the Jets would score 30 points a game. So he's there. So if tag against Wilson, the Jets are 20 defense, as we know, and Miami at 22. The Jets have had a real tough schedule. Again, it's a playoff game for Miami. The Jets, I think, have 5 wins. And they killed Houston last week. They look good. Houston's a good team. Miami's going to have trouble. And I think there's big wind in Miami. We'll go through the weather in a minute. We'll go back through this. But if there's big weather, I like the over. If it's not, I think it was like 25-mile-an-hour winds. We'll see what it is today. But if that's the case, then you almost take Brees Hall on the defense to be able to move it, and you go take the 15 points in the JETSs. Let's see what the win looks like. KC 8.5, 37. I got KC 27, New England 10. KC's pissed off. They've lost 2 games in a row. They got an easy New England team. Zappy, okay. Yes, of course, he should have been started in the whole year. The great Bill Belichick's out of his fucking mind, as we know. There's no Brady. KC's actually an under team, a 17 defense. I mean, they lost to Buffalo. It was 20-17. They didn't give up a lot of points. They're just not scoring because they don't have a receiver. But then they run into New England with the 21 defense. Mahomes will win this game. I am 100% convinced. And they will win pretty good because New England doesn't have anything to really stop them. They really don't have the offense. They got Zappy, but KC, they're running into KC's defense. So 27-10 Kansas City, lay the 2.5. As far as the over or under, 37 is really, it should be an obvious under, but Zappy might get you some points. So I think it'll be real close to that number, the 37. So you can go over, you can go under, your call. The 49ers, 12.5, 48. Where are they? So you got to love that it's under 30, it's under 7. I can go, my lay 6.5. Niners need it for the 1 seed, even though they're tied. They lose, Dallas or Philly wins, they're not the 1 seed anymore. So they still have to keep going. They're very healthy. They've got McCaffrey. They're playing Arizona, who has a 25 defense, a W team. They should just light them up. Let's give a score here of 37-13 for the Niners. 12 and a half, lay 6.5 all day long. You get an under 7 in this type of game. Take the Niners. They play well. I like it. When they go to Arizona, they like the nice weather. So if they go to the Rams, they go to Arizona. They play very well. Not a problem. Their defense, of course, will show up. They'll just key on Murray. He won't be able to dance all over. Do I like the over? It always scares me with the Niners to play it over with their defense. They could just as easily shut you out as give up like Seattle scored, but you're always I took the Niners last week, not Seattle, because again it scared me that Seattle would they score. I think I had that. Did I have the over? What did I play? I took the Niners. I had the Niners and the over. So it's 28-16. It'll be, I don't know if Arizona will get 16. That's the problem. But I think you take the Niners here. But it's always scary with a defense like this to fucking fuck with the over, because you're going to be lucky. It's in other words, to get there, the Niners have to get you there. And then if the Niners are going to get you there, you might as well lay the 6 or 6.5. So go Niners, beat Navy. The Rams, 6.5, 50.5. Somebody needs to explain this to me. Howell against Stafford. The E team, the Rams, 22 defense against the Z team with the 30 defense. 38-20 Rams. Enough said. Dallas, Buffalo, the game of the weekend. Buffalo, 1.5 or 2. Let's see if there's any 2s out there. Yeah, 2s. So let's call it 2. Buffalo 250.5. Dallas the A team, Buffalo a B team. I got 31-27 Dallas. I don't see Buffalo stopping them. They haven't stopped anybody. They don't really have Von Miller, and they've lost Milano. Prescott against Allen. I got 17-mile-an-hour winds, which makes me like Dallas more because they can run the ball and they're balanced. Both quarterbacks can run, obviously. Buffalo really doesn't have a running attack, which has held them out of the Super Bowl the last 5 years. You must have balance. You must be able to run the ball and pass to keep the defense. And if you're Josh Allen, you're not keeping the defense honest because they're just keying on you. And if you run, they got you. Otherwise, you're passing. So I like the dog in this type of game. So I like Dallas in 8. They have to win. They're now tied with Philly for the lead in their division, and for the 1 seed, it's San Francisco, then Dallas. So Dallas has to win. Otherwise, the win last week means nothing. So it's a good win, and they beat Philly, and they really crushed Philly. So they're playing good. Look for them to this should be a very close game. Should come down to the end. Take the 8, take the 8.5, take the points. 17-mile-an-hour wind. We'll check the winds going in the next minute. Baltimore 3, 42.5. Let's see what we get here. Yeah, we got a bunch of 3s. Okay. Lawrence is playing injured. There's a 22-mile-an-hour wind. We'll go through all that. You got Baltimore with a 17 defense. They're the A team. Jacksonville is really not that good. They're an E team. Against Kansas City, they scored 9. Against Baltimore here, Baltimore is just dominated with the balanced offense and a very strong defense. They'll put pressure on Lawrence. Somebody putting pressure on a quarterback, amazing. I got Baltimore 34-17. I don't think this game's close. I think Baltimore just kills them. Lawrence with the ankle, he still has a high ankle sprain. It doesn't heal in 2 weeks. The fact he's out there, he's an idiot, basically. He's hurting the team, and I just don't see their defense. Last week they gave up, 31 to Cleveland. You're going up 31 to Cleveland. You're gonna give up more to Baltimore. I just don't see Baltimore losing. They still want the 1 seed. They're leading the 1 seed, but there's 4 games left, so still a must win for the 1 seed until they lock it up. They're playing well. Jacksonville, with the injury to Lawrence, he's playing injured, is not something you can do with a high ankle sprain. So Baltimore 34-17. And the last one is Philadelphia 47.5 against Seattle. There will be rain. Let's see who the quarterback is for Seattle. Do we know? Geno Smith, questionable with a groin, was limited in practice. Doesn't really tell us anything. Jamal Adams, questionable with a knee, strong safety. He's always injured. But my wide receivers are good. Philly, big play. Slay is questionable with the knee. The fact he didn't practice on Thursday is meaningless because this late in the year, they're all hurt, so they're just taking the time to get ready for Sunday. That's really it. 347.5. Philadelphia is an over team. They do not have a defense this year. They give up 24 a game. Seattle gives up 24 a game. Now there's the rain, but if there's not wind, I don't care about rain. Rain you can play with. Wind you can't. So I got Philly winning 31-24. And again, it's based on Smith or Locke. Who do we got at quarterback? If it is Smith, I love the over. If it's not Smith, then I like the over. Philadelphia and Miami are the over teams. San Diego, those are your over teams. San Diego was until they lost Herbert. So you just Seattle should score. They scored on the Niners. Philly will score. They're coming off of a loss, 2 losses, I think. Philly lost to Dallas last week, and I thought they lost the week before to San Francisco. So they just got crushed by the 2 very strong teams, though. Seattle is not a very strong team. So look for Philly to get righted, right? If the coach is any good, which I still don't know. So lay the 3. Take the 3 in Philly or go over. So we'll see who's Smith or Hurts. So let's go to our other site where we get the key injuries and the key weather. All right. So let's go down this and see what we see. So Minnesota and Cincy, it's Mullins against Browning. Jefferson's questionable. 7-mile-an-hour wind. So the wind is not a factor tomorrow in Cincinnati, and no rain. Pittsburgh Indies in a dome, doesn't matter. Everybody's healthy, except for you got Zach Moss instead of Taylor. And you got Trubisky instead. So everybody's healthy except Trubisky's in there for Pickett. And Pickett was just starting to get it. He beat the Rams somehow. And then Taylor's out. So basically everybody's healthy but the other guys. Detroit is in a dome. Denver is totally healthy. Detroit, Reynolds is questionable. So pretty healthy there and in a dome, no weather. Atlanta, Carolina, Riddler against Young. Atlanta is healthy. Carolina is, I guess they're healthy. Kyle Pitts on Atlanta. Why is he a tight end? And he's not really doing anything for them. So they don't know how to use the guy very good. I don't like this running back and 3 wide receivers for Atlanta. They got you got Bijan Robinson and you got Algiers. You should have 2 tight ends and 2 wide receivers. I don't get what 3 wide receivers do for you with Bijan Robinson. I'd rather have a little more blocking. So I disagree with that. And then Carolina. So Atlanta desperately needs the game against 1-12 Carolina, who should be 0-13, but they played Houston and Stroud looked like shit. So not sure here. This is in Carolina. 14-mile-an-hour winds and 92% chance of rain. So you got rain and 14-mile-an-hour winds. Let me write that down. So I like the game under. The over-under is 34. I like the game under before I knew about the rain and the wind. 24/7 is on a 50-degree day in Carolina with no wind. So it should be less than that. But here's where the edge goes to Atlanta because they can run it down your throat. Carolina can't. They got the 21 defense, Carolina the 26. So the 26 defense won't be as bad in the rain because you can't really throw the ball deep. And Riddler runs. Young's not a runner a little bit, but you can't just hand the ball off in this rain and 14-mile-an-hour wind. So this is definitely an under with these weather conditions. Back to the green pen. This makes it a better under. When you start getting rain and a little bit of wind, it definitely does. The Bears in Cleveland. DJ Moore questionable and St. Brown for the Bears. Cleveland forward, their running back, the third string running back is questionable. In Cleveland, we got 50% chance of rain and 14-mile-an-hour winds. So let's put the 14-mile-an-hour here. Not terrible. Maybe rain. And again, this helps on the Bears because with Fields running, the wind's not a big factor, right? He runs. He doesn't care about the wind. Now, the good question is DJ Moore. If DJ Moore is out, maybe this is an under with these defenses. Flacco likes to throw the ball, but in 14-mile-an-hour and rain, he ain't going to do anything. So we'll wait and see what it looks like Sunday morning on this game. Tampa Bay, Green Bay, no rain, 10-mile-an-hour winds, which are nothing. So the weather won't be a factor, and it's supposed to be 40 degrees. So everything's there. So I like Tampa without the 20-mile-an-hour and 10 below zero weather that they're not going to get. Over a 42, yes, over. Well, here's where now the injuries come in. Godwin's questionable for Tampa. Okay. You got Aaron Jones, which we know is out. Watson is doubtful, and then Jaden Reed is questionable. So they got their top 2 receivers. One's doubtful, one's questionable. The running back's out, but they'll go to the other running back. Love is not very good, and this is a playoff game, and I like Mayfield. I hate the coach, but I think this is a dog play. It depends what I get, but if Watson's out, Jones is probably out, or he's not going to play the whole game. So Green Bay is really hamstrung. Tampa has been scoring a little. Yeah, I think Tampa's the play here. The weather's going to be fine. The Jets in Miami, we've got rain 26%. We got 25-mile-an-hour winds. So we like the Jets, Jets with 25-mile-an-hour winds, and we get 15.5 points with this defense. The winds kill Miami because they throw the ball, right? So you're not going to throw the ball on target. The Jets run the ball anyway, and they play they bring the big D. So I got to be careful about over with 25-mile-an-hour winds. It's 77, and there's 26% chance of rain. So let's say you're not going to get the rain. You got the wind. It's very hard to throw the ball into the wind. So that makes the Jets plus 15.5 pretty strong there. KC New England, you've got 28% chance of rain, 10-mile-an-hour winds, and 48 degrees. So I'm not worried about that game. That won't affect Mahomes. Stevenson, Parker, and Smith-Schuster are all questionable. So that I don't understand why this line went from 9.5 to 8.5 if all the New England players are the questionable ones. And you got Chocolate Eclair instead of Pacheco. Oh, okay, that's fine. He's good. Rashid Rice and Valdez Scantling, that's terrible. And Kelsey. So again, but Mahomes will make it work because he's Mahomes. So this is a Mahomes bet off of 2 losses in a row, and he's pissed off at that offsides call. Look for them to, crush him. The Giants in New Orleans, everybody's good for the Giants. DeVito, Barkley, and Hyatt, and Derek Carr's fine, and Kamara. Olave and Shahi are questionable as we thought. You're in a dome. It doesn't matter. I'm not home. I am busy teaching my students. I cannot take phone calls. So I think Olave plays Shaheed. I don't know, but that they have 4 or 5 receivers. I'm not worried. Olave is the key. Thomas is out again. Gee, surprise. I don't know why New Orleans holds Thomas. The guy never plays, and then they only have one good receiver in Olave. In the dome. So if Olave plays, you've got Carr playing. If Olave plays, then I love the over here. Over under of 39 is very low. We saw what DeVito did against the Packers, which has a good defense. New Orleans is a 20 defense, and Green Bay is a 20 defense. And they put up 24 on that. I think DeVito puts up points on New Orleans. So I think he's fine. I'm not like, oh my God, he's Trubisky. Oh my God, he's Mullins, Browning, Stick, and O'Connell. So I'm not really concerned about that. I definitely like over 33. I think that's ridiculous. In a dome, so you got nothing to worry about there. Houston, Tennessee. Stroud is out. I don't know why it says questionable. Nico Collins and Noah Brown are questionable. So you got Davis, the Mills against, and Tennessee's all healthy. Levis, Henry, DeAndre Hopkins are all ready to go. You've got 9-mile-an-hour winds and slight chance of rain. So you're not going to have a weather problem in Tennessee. You got Mills. I got 17-6 on a clear, sunny day. I don't see Houston doing a whole lot here with Mills. Maybe he does a little bit more. He has played for a few years. Somehow he's in the league. He sucked at Stanford. I don't understand. The guy sucks at Stanford. You make him your starting quarterback? Really? Just amazing. So definitely I like Tennessee here in a must win. Although they're kind of out, but they're a 5-8 team. But Houston 7-6, and if they win, Houston 7-8. They're 7-7. Tennessee 6-8. A game back, 3 to go. So this is a big game for Tennessee here. So it's weird because they're 5-8. You think they're out, but they're really not, which makes the whole league, have a chance because the league's so bad. You've got these 6-7 win teams in the playoffs. It's just pathetic. It's just absolutely pathetic football we're watching. All right, so no comments today. Bobby, where are you? Houston's got a bunch of injuries. So if Houston's injured out, I think Tennessee, I think you go under. It's 37. Yeah, you take that under. Because Houston's not going to do shit. They didn't do shit against the JETSs last week. Frisco, Arizona. Frisco is healthy. Everybody in Arizona, Brown and Wilson, the receivers, are questionable, but Murray and Connor are okay. You're in a dome. Well, it's not really a dome, but they have a roof. But, yeah, so there's no weather to worry about. Washington at the Rams, there's no weather to worry about. You're at the dome there. Dallas, Buffalo. Now, here's where you might think 80% chance of rain, 50 degrees, 15-mile-an-hour winds. So they lie. When they put the wind, it's as of today, not as of what's supposed to happen on Sunday. A little bit of rain. So I don't know. Again, I like the dog in that. A closer game. Maybe this isn't an over then with a little bit of rain and a little bit of wind. Maybe I adjust it down a little bit. But Buffalo still doesn't have a defense, really, and Dallas does with Mika. So we're betting Micah Parsons here. We're certainly not betting Prescott. And I think I'd bet Dallas before I'd bet the over. But you got to tease the dog. The wind will definitely keep the score down, and the rain. So maybe an under. It's 50. That's such a high number with rain and wind. Baltimore, 24-mile-an-hour winds in Jacksonville, up from 22. 40% chance of rain, 61 degrees. I like Baltimore, and the rain and the sloppier and the wind helps Lamar because he runs. Lawrence can't run because he's got a high ankle sprain. Also, Etienne and Zay Jones are questionable. So if you don't have Etienne, Lawrence can't run. You got problems with Jacksonville. So I like Baltimore a lot there. And Philly, Seattle, you've got 6-mile-an-hour winds. So you got no problem there. You do have 84% chance of rain. So you're going to get rain in Seattle. What else is new? But you're not going to get wind. I got Philly 31-24. Hurts. Geno Smith questionable. All the receivers are fine. So it's Geno Smith or Lock. Either way, I kind of like Philly. I think they'll put pressure on, and I think they'll score a lot. And they've lost 2 in a row, are going to be pretty pissed off. So that's what I like about this. Now, but is this Sunday wind or today's temperature? So we'll keep an eye on it tomorrow to see how accurate. But we do have the Lions are in a dome, Indy's in a dome, and Cincinnati is very mild. So it's 57 here. Same weather in Cincinnati as in Detroit. We're, I think, a 3-hour drive away. So it's just south of me. So it should be fine. So there you have it. Free pick, take Denver. Roll Tide, take Alabama. Look for Kansas City off of 2 losses. Look for Philadelphia off of 2 losses to both be very pissed off. Dallas has been streaking. Baltimore is fine. Dallas, fine. Look for Danny DeVito to keep going. So it's really KC and Philly who are both pissed. because of the 2 losses. So look for them to play very good games. Hey, Greg and John. So that is your pros. Let's take a quick look at Saturday's college, which is tomorrow. Okay, college. A ton of new quarterbacks. Georgia Southern 3-48.5 to Ohio. And Ohio has a new quarterback, killer defense, 15 defense. They're an under team anyway. And Georgia Southern's an over team with a 30 defense. So we've got the new quarterback in for Ohio. So I think it'll be low scoring. Jacksonville State 2.5, 57.5 to Lou Lafayette. This was 59.5, I think. New quarterback for Lou Lafayette, probably. The guy's doubtful, but we'll see. I believe he's out, but we'll see. And we've got we'll see. I don't put scores in college. I can maybe put on the bowl games. We'll do maybe the playoff games. App State 6.5, 42.5 with a new quarterback for Miami of Ohio. I like App State here. Aguilar's a very strong quarterback as far as I know he's playing. Miami with a good defense, but again, it's a MAC defense. App State the 28, but Miami of Ohio with the new quarterback shouldn't be able to take strong advantage of it unless they bring in one of these option quarterback type of things. New Mexico State, Fresno State. We got Mikey Keene against Pavia. Let's see. I added this game today. New Mexico State 3.5, 51.5. 25 defense for Fresno State, 21 for New Mexico State. Fresno State's an over team, and I got Pavia. So I think this is an over 45.5. Should be high scoring in a New Mexico State, Fresno State game. App State should score on Miami of Ohio. Ohio, Georgia Southern should be low scoring. Jacksonville State, Lou Lafayette, you're on your own there. I don't know. UCLA, Boise, UCLA 4.5, 48.5. Boise, new quarterback, the third stringer. How good can he be? UCLA with a very strong defense, 18.5. Or an 18 defense, over under 48.5. You got to go under here. Boise with a pretty good defense. They're obviously not going to score that much on this defense if they use their quarterback, but they're down to the third stringer. But UCLA doesn't really score anyway, even with Garbers. Running back Steele is questionable, so I think UCLA wins. But we don't know the Boise quarterback. And we've got my favorite, Texas Tech, 3.5, 56.5 to Cal, my Cal team. Love Cal. Cal's been over a lot. I've been making a ton on them over, except you got to watch them against Oregon. You got to watch them against Utah, the real tough defenses. We don't have a real tough team. We got a 27 with Texas Tech, a 32 with Cal. Both are over teams, both very explosive. Look for a high-scoring game in this one. That takes you through Saturday, and then Monday is Western Kentucky Old D, and I have no idea. Old D, 2.5, 54.5. I guess I would think it would be a high-scoring game because Western Kentucky's an over. With the 28 defense, Old D has a 26 defense. I would guess high-scoring. We have to go to the other thing to check the weather here. So let's go to my other piece. The counter of the pro weather and everything is the college RotoWire. So Georgia Southern, Ohio. No weather available. What the fuck? I mean, I don't even know where the game's at. I know the Jacksonville State Louisville Lafayette game is in Louisville. It's like the Louisville Open or something. No weather. Why aren't they putting weather up? Fuck, I don't have weather. Well, we can't go through the weather. Let's just go through the injuries. So, Ohio, Georgia Southern's running back, Jalen White, which isn't going to help us, is questionable. Ohio is fine, except for Navarro's not their regular quarterback. And I'm not sure of the running backs if they're the regular running backs. Ohio, not a bad team. Georgia Southern is really not that good. They got in because they got 6-6 record. You know, yeah, what's the point? Lou Lafayette and Jacksonville State's healthy. Lou Lafayette, quarterback's questionable, and Washington, a running back, is questionable. Miami against App State. We got a new quarterback from Miami, Henry Hessen. Never heard of, a nobody, against Aguilar, who's thrown like 30 touchdowns this year. So your money ought to be on App State. New Mexico State, Fresno State, Pavia against Keene. Everybody is healthy here. If these are their starters, this is the only thing we don't know with this site. Although I do know Mikey Keene and Pavia are the starters. UCLA, Boise. CJ Tiller is not Boise's normal quarterback, so they're going with their third stringer. Garbers is their quarterback. I don't know what the P stands for. Playing? I don't know. And Steele, the running back's questionable. Cal and Texas Tech, Mendoza and Morton are the starters. Jaden Ott, very strong running back. He's up there with Ollie Gordon. And Ty Brooks is their running back, who's a 1,500-yarder. So Ott and Brooks are big bruising 1,300, 15 touchdown backs are playing. And Morton and Mendoza, this game goes way over. Western Kentucky, Old D. Again, no weather available. What the fuck? Austin Reed for West Kentucky and Grant Wilson for Old Dominion are their quarterbacks, actually. Texas, San Antonio, and Marshall on Tuesday, which we'll get to next week. Frank Harris is playing. Pennington is not Marshall's normal quarterback. Ali is a very good. Rashid Ali for Marshall's excellent running back. A lot of moves on him. And that's it. So that's all for now with that. There's too many games to get into. Again, your free play is Alabama getting 1.5 up to 7.5 on Michigan. whoever developed that line, I'd like to shake his hand and thank him for giving us such a strong bowl play. And then Texas Washington is 4.5, 64. This should be like Oregon Washington score, should be in the 60s. I feel comfortable with. And I think Washington will get the W because they beat Oregon twice. Oregon's a better team than Texas, so look out. Oak State against A&M, Ollie Gordon. They're getting 2.5. You get 8.5 with Ollie Gordon, best running back in college football. Over under a 53. A&M's, I think, on their third string quarterback. We'll get more into that when we get it's the 27th. Kansas State, NC State. So let's look at the teams who are new quarterbacking. Ohio, Lou Lafayette, Miami of Ohio, Boise, Marshall, James Madison, Air Force. We don't know if their quarterback, who their regular guy is, Zenig, is playing. That we'll know closer to the 23rd. Coastal Carolina, new quarterback. Minnesota, new quarterback. USC, new quarterback. Kansas State, new quarterback. Oklahoma, new quarterback. I missed that one, but I know Gabriel's not playing. Ohio State, new quarterback. Missed that one. Florida State's not a new quarterback. We just know that whatchamacallit is out. I can't think of his. I can see that Jordan Travis. He's out, but we know that it's not because he's going for the draft. Toledo, new quarterback. LSU, we're not sure with Daniels. We're hoping Daniels plays and we can win some money on LSU. If he doesn't play, we don't. The problem is if he doesn't. So if he plays, we bet on him and he gets 6 touchdowns and we win by 50 points. The problem is if he doesn't play, you don't know what the backup is. Is he good? I know they used to be a passer. When Daniels came, I was surprised Daniels was the quarterback over the kid who was there before, who looked pretty good. So I don't know who their backup's going to be if Daniels doesn't play. If it's somebody I heard of, I know. If it's somebody I haven't heard of, we don't know what we're getting. It could be another Daniels. It could be a thrower. So we're not sure. Liberty, Oregon, we got Bo Nix playing so far. Jesus Christ. It's a great game. Liberty's an A team, very explosive. This should be a 100-point game if everybody plays. Let's see. Georgia Tech, UCF, good game. Both quarterbacks are apparently playing. Troy and Duke, both quarterbacks are apparently playing. Riley Leonard's out, so it's not like he's transfer porting. He is transfer portaling. But the guy who is scheduled is their backup quarterback. Tulane's quarterback's playing. North Carolina, May's out. I don't know why. SMU, Stone's out, but he broke his leg. Okay. And then Notre Dame, Hartman being out makes no sense. If anybody should be playing, it should be Hartman to show how bad the coaches are and have a big game. But Hartman's a stud. He should be a first-round pick. If he's not, these GMs should all fucking resign. They're just a bunch of idiots. I mean, and you didn't see him at Wake Forest, and he lit up Clemson, and he, like, what the fuck are you looking at? Thank you, Greg and John. Yeah, well, San Diego fired their coach. What can you say? I mean, they quit on him. And they should have quit on him a long time ago when they lost. They should have fired him when they lost to Jacksonville. You have a 27-0 lead and you lose the game. The coach should be fired. What's he there for? To win playoff games. So if he's there to win playoff games, you got 27-0 lead against Jacksonville. and you lose, you should resign. You fire the defensive coordinator. Oh yeah, that was the problem. No, the problem's the head coach. Then he kept going for it on fourth down. What the fuck are you doing against Minnesota at his own 25? There's a minute left in the game. Just punt the ball. No, I'm going to go for it on my own 25. He doesn't get it. Minnesota gets the ball to 25 down 4. And this is like the Oregon coach. The Oregon coach fucked his team because if he would have punted against Washington and pinned them deep, Oregon's going to win the game. Instead, he doesn't punt. He goes for it on fourth. The team then gets deflated because they're questioning what the fuck is the coach doing. There's a minute left. We're up, I think, 4 points to Washington. We're at midfield and you're going for it. Are you out of your fucking mind? Because it's demoralizing. It's a fumble, right? Going for it on fourth and not getting it has serious repercussions on the emotion of the game. So you've stopped that. Washington was sky high. 2 passes later, touchdown. That's because Oregon was scratching their head going, did we really go for it on fourth down? That's why they lost. So with that said, the coach cost Oregon the playoff because if they win, then it's Oregon, not Washington in the playoff. And Oregon could win the playoff, especially with no Georgia there. Again, the playoff is like Georgia, Florida State should be in it. Alabama should not be, and Texas, Washington, it should be Oregon. So it should be Georgia, Michigan, Texas, and Oregon should really be your 4. And I'm not sure how Florida State stays out. But with Georgia playing Florida State and Oregon would have played Ohio State, then you would have had your 18 playoff. And I don't know why they can't make a change and go, you know what? Yeah, let's play those 2 games with our other 2 games and have an 18 playoff. Why can't they do that? You can renegotiate a contract. They do it all the time. Everybody does that. Why can't they? They cut my Harley was supposed to be a year. 4 months. Well, we have a contract. Well, apparently we don't. So don't tell me they can't make an 18 playoff. And God knows this would be the year to do it. How do you have a playoff without Georgia in it? It's ridiculous. They're the best team. They're a NFL playoff team. How the fuck do you not have them in there? Absolutely ridiculous system that they have, and that they can't go to 8 teams is just fucking retarded. So enough said there, but that should be your playoff. So we'll keep an eye on that. So again, we got the first Saturday. I gave you those games. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games on Saturday. I think Cal will be the most entertaining. That'll be really high scoring. UCLA should be low scoring. New Mexico State should be high scoring. App State should roll Miami. And Ohio, Georgia Southern, first 1 to 10 wins in that one. Free pick, Alabama over Michigan. How are they the dog? Makes absolutely no sense. And that's about it for now on football. So tomorrow we got 3 pro games, remember. So Cincinnati Mini, Pitt Indy, and then Denver, Detroit, and Denver is the free pay. The free play with Alabama, and I've already played a Denver Alabama teaser. Absolutely, that's just a joke. I played a couple of Alabama teasers already, so I'll just carry them, But I got a feeling by game time, Alabama will be a 3-point favorite. So if I can get Alabama as a dog, thank you, God. That's all I can say. Because the Alabama money will start flowing in. There's a big Alabama contingency, right? And they're not betting it yet. It's too far out. But come December 30th, look for the line to start moving. So I want Alabama and points. I'm betting it now. There's no reason. I already know. There's no this, that, the other. There's no injuries. I'm not waiting for Milrose to get better or anything. And as far as I can see, Michigan doesn't even belong on the field with them. Oh, they beat Nebraska. Oh, how did I miss that? They beat UNLV and Bowling Green. How did I miss that? Yeah, good fucking luck. Alabama beat Georgia. That's all you need to know is Alabama beat Georgia. Michigan didn't play anybody in that caliber. So that's the bottom line there. Started watching Mark McGuire a little bit. They're talking about the spike in gold and then it went down and it's all manipulated. So until we blow up COMEX, I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. He doesn't quite get his paper gold. He doesn't really answer the question, where's the physical gold market? Why isn't there a physical gold price and why doesn't he talk about it? Why isn't there one? Why doesn't somebody come up with one? Why are we using this ridiculous paper gold pricing to buy, to get the value of coins? The physical gold should not be tied to the paper gold. That's all you need to do to end the paper gold is have physical gold market. Now, I believe that's what Russia's doing. And when they come out with their gold-backed currency and then the BRICS gold-backed currency, then Katie bar the door, say goodbye to the U.S. currency. 40 countries don't want it, and it's going up to 80 very soon. And if nobody wants you, you don't have a value. So that's really the whole key to – I got to send Daria a picture. That's the whole key to it. It's if nobody wants you, there's no value. And there ain't no value. Gold was like 2030, but that's a fake value. That's not the real value. That's the inflated with derivatives and analytics, analogs, whatever the fuck you call them, keeping the price down, not a physical bid and ask system like this. So on eBay, nobody knows the price. It's whatever it's bidded for. It's a 50 count Mahomes. Okay, 5,000. Okay, yeah, I'll buy it. That's a market. That's a real price of the card. And in gold, you don't have a real price. That's why I say 50,000. Not right away. It'll be 21st, but that's the real price of gold because that's what you would have if you had a bid and ask, if you had supply demand without this paper bullshit. So just keep in mind the U.S. is trying to fight to keep the dollar alive and not let gold go up. And, bullshit. We've heard this before. Alligator or Mark McGuire is very clueless in his explanation. He talks Chinese with the ring fence and the casino. Nobody knows what the fuck he's talking about. But he kind of is explaining what's happening, kind of, but we don't care about the explanation. We care about getting rid of COMEX. That's the key word, talking blowing up. Why are we using COMEX at all? That's the part he can't understand or explain. He explains why the gold went up and why the gold went down, and we don't give a fuck. Why is Michigan 1.5 point favorite over that? We don't care. All we care about is it is a 1.5 point dog. We can get Alabama in 7.5. That's what we care about. We don't give a fuck about how did they develop the line and why are these analog or whatever you call them in the, so basically if the price goes to here, these sell orders come in automatically. They're all like fixed. Well, that's not supply demand. People aren't selling their gold. Nobody's selling their gold. So why is the price being hammered down? And then it looks like it doesn't. And so the real stoic people would go, well, why is gold going down? You have major inflation, but you don't even need inflation for gold to go up. It's the same as the Mahomes card. Why does this go up? It's got nothing to do with inflation. It's got to do with more people want it, then there's only 50 cards. That's it. That's what gold is. Gold is not anything to do with inflation, anything to do with anything. It's a asset. It's a commodity. If it's bid up, that's the value. It doesn't matter if there's inflation. It's not. It's not. It's money, but it's not being used as money. But it's an asset, like any other asset, like Mahomes, like Joe Burrow, like Brady. And why is my Montana card 125,000? Because that's the value of it. Somebody's bidding it and buying it. Now you might have a next auction where it only gets 110,000, but okay. But we know pretty much where it is, and we know gold's not going to be, oh, it's 50,000. It's not going to move. Of course, it'll move because people will start selling it at 50,000. But people will sell it. Not right now. It's not being sold by people. It's being sold by a computer without anybody actually selling it or taking possession of the gold. Nobody is selling an ounce of gold. It's a computer derivative, which is a bunch of bullshit, and why they're allowing that to happen, and why there's no, all you need to do is have a physical market. Let the Russians put in a physical, but the problem is you keep getting this paper in the way, so people keep looking at the $2,000 as the value of gold, and it isn't. So it needs to be destroyed, and then it needs to have it. Why? What's the problem with gold? Why is everybody not allowing gold to go to its real value? And when I give you 20, 40, 50,000, that's the real value. 2,000 in silver is the real physical value, not the paper derivative coded value. That's a bunch of bullshit. So keep that in mind. I think we're getting close because Russia has to go to a gold-backed currency, and they have to raise the price. See, again, it's got to be let to the market, and eventually we've got to have competition for COMEX where COMEX isn't used, and then it slowly goes from paper to physical. I think that's what we'll have to do in this retarded system of gold. But we do know the paper, we understand the one basic premise. If you print and print and print money, paper, euros or dollars, it does have. So the basic concept that we all understand is if you keep printing these, they have no value, right? And you can see it. You go to the grocery store, your $100 doesn't buy you shit. That's not the prices. That's the money being worthless. I went and bought a little bit of ribs. I think I got a steak and hamburger, and I got, what did I get? I got bananas, and it was like $45. For what? The hamburger should be $5, and the steak should be $5 is 10, and the little rib should be $2 is 12. The bananas shouldn't even be $1 is 13. How the fuck did we get to 45? It isn't the meat going up. The meat was not that expensive. It's the value of the dollar. So once people understand that this has no value, that's when it's all done. And then you can COMEX all you want, but you can't use $2,000 because the dollar has no value. So that's the tricky part to explain to people, is that your house will be worth nothing in dollars, and then it gets valued in gold. And that's the tricky part. People are all afraid, oh my God, my house will be worthless. Only in dollars, and dollars will go out, but they'll be replaced. And that's what the gold will be. Think about it. I was thinking about this morning. So the U.S. stopped printing silver in 1964 using silver and coins, and we got off the gold standard in 1971. How we're still running at all is beyond me. It's all a bunch of bullshit, but it's all going to end. But I don't know how long it took the Romans to stop when they took all their gold and silver out of their coins. I don't know how, at what point did they do it, and what point did they collapse? Was it a year, or maybe they went on another 5 or 10 years until they collapse? Again, it's like the Titanic. It takes time to sink. It doesn't just hit the iceberg and sink. But that's, no country survived that doesn't use gold and silver to back their currency. because they're going to print it to zero. And that's always what happened. And it's what's happening now. So I'm curious. We don't have gold or silver backing our money. And that's the key to understand. So if you don't, the money's worthless, because how do you pay for the debt? Oh, we'll print more money. At what point do you print more money until the money's worthless? Oh, you don't think that happens? Go look at Zimbabwe. They now have to use gold because their money's worthless. Look at Venezuela. Their money is worthless. Look at Germany, 1923. What did they do? They printed, and guess what? Their money went worthless. Hitler comes in. What does he do? He steals all the gold from all the countries in Europe. That's what the war was about, him stealing the gold. That's it. And he covered it up with all the killing and the Jewish and all that stuff. But basically, he went in to steal gold. That's how the Federal Reserve of New York got all its gold. If you ever watch Die Hard 3, you see all the countries in the little cages, Germany, Italy, whatever. That's their gold. And it's in the New York Fed because they wanted it protected from Hitler. And that's exactly what the point was. Why did it go out? Because you can't keep printing Deutschmarks till, then it goes to zero. So they'd print $1 billion and they'd have a wheelbarrow for money. What do you think that was about? You overprinted. Now they had to pay for the war. And the thing that gets everybody in trouble is the war, because it cost a lot of money. And this is what people don't understand. How do you come up with the money in the first place? You print, or else you sell savings bonds. Where are you going to get the money for a war? And this is what kills all the countries. World War I, that's what killed England. England was on the gold standard. They were the reserve currency. Most of from what they did in India and Hong Kong and Singapore, where they made all their money, because they had the shipping and the boats, because they were an island. So, in the 1800s and the 1900s, they built all their wealth, and everybody was on the gold standard back then. So with that said, how do they pay for World War I? That ended. England was no longer the reserve currency, and it really didn't go anywhere until after the war, and it came here because all the countries trusted us. And we lied to everybody because we said, "Oh yeah, we'll have the gold standard." And then everybody, okay, we'll go with you. And then in 71, we said, yeah, no more gold standard. And then that's why everybody started asking for their money back. Well, fuck that. I don't want US dollars. I want gold. And we kind of were heavy-handed to them and bullying them, and they kind of had to stay. And if they tried to go gold standard, they got killed. What a fucked up country we are, huh? So with that said, what you're trying to do is, first of all, you wake up and understand your dollar's worthless, and they keep printing it. And then the question is, how long can we keep printing it? And we're near the end, and then you can see everybody buying gold, running, going, we're all fucked, but it's mostly the banks and central banks buying the gold. But then here comes my guy at Toyota going, yeah, my buddy owns a company. And at the end of the day, he runs and he keeps buying gold, and then he sells the gold to do his payroll. That's the only thing I would say he's doing wrong. He should keep money for payroll. So let's say your payroll is $10,000 a week. I would leave $40,000 in cash to pay for the payroll. I don't want to buy gold on Monday and then keep selling it to pay for my payroll. That's not good. You're losing money there. I wouldn't recommend doing that, because I don't want to sell the gold at $2,000 an ounce when it's going to $25,000. So I don't want to sell my gold here, and I would leave a little bit of cash because I don't want to buy it and sell it so quickly. That's the only thing I would say is he's doing wrong. Otherwise, he is. Now, I'm still pissed at the guy because I told him to get out of Bitcoin and buy gold and empty your bank account. And he ignored me. And then when his buddy's doing it, now he goes and he emptied the Bitcoin and emptied his bank and bought gold. And I go, well, I told you to do that. What the fuck? And he's like, well, it's my wife, and we just weren't comfortable with you. And I go, so you think I'm bullshitting you? That's really disrespectful that you think I'm going to sit there and tell you guys lies. I told you I have a master's in Austrian economics. Fucking listen to me. But if you don't, please don't insult me. Don't sit there and say, well, we ignored you. But when Joe Blow, who owns a plastic shop, does it, then, oh, now we believe it. Well, what makes you believe him? What makes you think he knows what he's doing? Now, the fact that I told him and he does, now he goes, oh, that's the right move. But I don't think he should have told me because it pissed me off, and I don't think I'll help him anymore. I am into this stoic thing, and I know I'm an INFJ. So it's like, if you fuck around with me, I just walk away. I don't need to, I don't need that. I don't need, oh, please be my friend. And I don't need this Toyota guy dicking around with me. So I'm helping you. And if that's how you're going to take my advice, go fuck yourself. And, so I don't think I'll help him anymore. And, I don't go listen to, oh, is he an economist? No. Oh, well then, then he's asking me, well, where should I move to? And I said, well, the most logical place is Switzerland, somewhere in Europe where they're getting rid of the euro, and they're gonna back their dollar by gold. So they're now going to have gold standard for the euro, because they understand what's going on and they're buying all the gold from us. The only one not buying the gold is the U.S. for some reason. We've got the biggest idiots here, the Harvard teachers who don't understand gold, don't understand economics, are the ones running it. And they're not, oh, we'll just keep printing money. They're like so stupid, they don't get it. So anyway, that pisses me off that he's not listening to me, as it will Bobby when he's telling his family to buy gold and they're not listening to him. And wait till, the next door neighbor bought gold. So now we're going to buy gold because he did. Like, we trust him, but we don't trust you, Bobby. That's when it gets really, I get really pissed. So you don't think my work. So yeah, I'm just doing this for the hell of it. I don't know what I'm talking about. But when you hear Joe, your neighbor who works at the grocery store, do it, now you do it because he's doing it, but not because I'm telling you to do it. That's where I draw the line. I think that's just ridiculous. But I don't get people. People, is it a comfort level? So you're more comfortable with the guy who doesn't know what he's doing, but you listen to him, versus a guy with a master's in economics who's telling you what's going on, but I'm not that comfortable with you. But I'll listen to the ABC News, and I'll trust Biden. What the fuck? Are you insane? Money's not useless. The use of money is a medium of exchange. The problem is when you have paper money is good until you print it. And when you overprint it and inflate it, it loses its value. That's the problem with paper money not backed by gold. If it's backed by gold, you can't overprint it, and therefore you're okay with it. So when they come out with the new brics and Russian and Chinese currency backed by gold, and the euro backed by gold, that'll say we can't print it to zero. That's what you're concerned about. So the whole logic of this lesson is, why does dollars lose its value and why does gold not? Well, gold you can't print. There's only so much gold pulled out of the ground. And there's not enough that you pull out 3,000 tons a year is not enough to inflate the gold. However, the dollar, trillions of dollars get printed probably every day with these idiots. And that takes the value of the dollar away. And that's the problem with it. It's supposed to be a medium of exchange. So I'm supposed to get paid, and then I'm supposed to go to the grocery store and pay my bills with the dollar. And that's the purpose of it. But you can't fuck it up. You can't print it to zero. You've got to have good people in charge of it who you can actually it should all be gold and silver in the Constitution, but you shouldn't have people that aren't honest running the printing press, which is what you got, all the banks. So as they print, they don't think there's a penalty to it. And the penalty is it has no value. If you keep printing, there is no value. So you need to understand that, which they don't. And this is the problem. So being a medium of exchange is fine. I mean, it used to be tulips. It used to be cows. It used to be seashells. Whatever it is fine. There's nothing wrong. The money is the most likely thing, but it's the medium of exchange. It's to get paid to then go and buy things, pay your rent, pay your electric, buy your food, buy your clothes, go to the dentist. Everybody takes the dollar. Now it's legal tender in that the government forces you to take it. But you can run to the coin store, and that's what this guy at Toyota's friend's doing, is he's taking the money and then he runs and buys gold and silver with it. But the whole point, the idea of money is fine. The medium of exchange is really the best thing to do. It's Austrian. It's Adam Smith. Hate to break the MMT Keynesians back, but that's what it is. But you can't print it to zero. It's not a tax. There's no such thing as taxes. That's an evil communist thing that should not be there. You should go. The whole point is your skill set, right? You need somebody to do accounting. I'll do the accounting and you pay me. There shouldn't be any taxes. It's not income. It's a barter. It's I'll do a spreadsheet for you, and then you could give me 100 oranges. But we've agreed on the medium of exchange of the dollar as the function for me to do something for you. You know, somebody comes to mow your lawn. You don't have to pay him in dollars. You could pay him, and I could give him my Canadian club. I offered a guy at the club yesterday. I said, I might be going traveling. Can you drive me to the airport? And I'll pay you 2 ounces of silver if you take me to the airport and pick me up. And because he's bitching, I don't have any money. I can't buy silver. I go, okay, I'll give you 2 ounces. And in my mind, okay, it's about $70 for the 2 ounces together. And the way the airport parking's $14 a day, which is fucking ridiculous, then I can, it's a wash to me, but I'd rather use the silver. I really don't want to, but I'm helping him by getting him silver. So, he's like, well, I got to see what day it is. I'm like, if you don't want to do it, don't do it. I'm just, you're bitching about, I said, buy silver. And you said, I don't have any money. Well, here, I'm giving you silver. You don't want it. You don't want it. But that's what the medium of exchange is. It's not supposed to be inflated. It's not supposed to have a central bank. It's not supposed to be taxed. It's just supposed to be your employer gives you something, as opposed to bananas. They give you paper with 1s and 10s and 20s on it and presidents. And then you go use that to go to the grocery store and pay the doctor and all your bills. And they all take it because they have to. But it's agreed upon. That's why Bitcoin doesn't have a value, because nobody pays you in Bitcoin and you can't go to the grocery store with Bitcoin. So if it's not acceptable, it isn't money. And this really is fiat. It's government money, but agreed on. So you get paid 100 grand, you're going to get the medium of exchange. But the problem is you're losing money with it. They're inflating it. They're printing it. Don't fuck around. Inflation is printing money, period. But nobody wants to tell you that. You then think, oh, it's prices going up. It's not prices going up. It's the money being worthless. That's the problem, right? So now you're not even making 100 grand. You're making 80 grand, but you think you're making 100 because you can't go. What the 100 grand buys is only worth 80 grand. That's the problem. but you don't know. You're blinded to it. You think Coke and Pepsi have raised their prices. No, the value of the dollar has dropped, making it worthless. And that's where we're at now. It's worthless. But nobody can connect the dots except for us. So I'm telling you that. So that's why I get a little bit pissed if you don't believe me with a master's in economics, Austrian. But you got to hear it from the plumber who he runs and buys gold. So, yeah, he's our friend. So therefore, well, he probably heard it from me. I mean, that's the ironic part. So that's what you got to understand. You're getting out of the dollar because as the medium of exchange, it's not where it's losing value. So you're not really getting 100, even though it says 100. You're getting 30 or 20, even though it says you got a $100 bill. Good luck getting $100 worth of goods or services for it. You're not. Everybody should be asking if you go make 80 grand in your job, you should be asking for 100 because you're not getting 8, you're getting 50. And the only way to get 80, you got to ask for 100. And that's it. I mean, that's what's happening. So now we go to Greg John's gold and silver for life statement. And what that means is, well, we know we can't inflate gold and silver. You can't print it. We are seeing the inflation of the money. You're inflating the money supply, causing it to be worth nothing. But you can't do it with gold and silver. That's the point. That's why you need the medium of exchange with gold and silver to prevent you from printing it to zero. Because everybody's relying on you to be honest and run the printing press properly, not inflating it. So somebody like me is running the printing press. How much gold do we have? Okay, that's how much dollar it's got to be equal. That's how much dollars we have, and I'm not going to print any more. But I'm not running the printing press. JP Morgan is, and Bob runs, give me $1 million, and all the mafia come and nobody, and then you have these MMT idiots in the Keynesians who say, oh, just keep printing money. It's not a problem. There's no problem in printing money. You know, we need output or we need taxes or whatever the bullshit that they come up with. It's very simple. My 50 count, why is it numbered? Because it'll keep its value versus Reggie Jackson. It's $1 million count. They made 1 million of these. This is worth nothing. They made 50 of these and they numbered it. Why? Because this will keep its value. This has no value, but if you like Reggie Jackson, okay, give me $1 for the card. That's money, right? This is what the gold standard is. It can only make 50 of them. That's it. You can only make 50 $100 bills. More than 50, obviously, but that's the idea. So you can only print as much gold as you have. Now, people go, oh, well, gold won't work here. Gold won't. That's bullshit. Just raise the value of it. So if gold's 2,000 an ounce, make gold 5,000 an ounce. Then you can print more money. Nothing wrong with that. That's how you get out of it, because obviously you need more. But because what they're not saying, the Keynesians, is, we need more money. No, because you've inflated it. It has less value. Well, if you're in the gold standard, you just raise the value of gold. But you wouldn't lose value. A $100 bill would still buy you $100 at the grocery store because you haven't printed the money. Coca-Cola is not raising the price. It's the dollar is worth less. So Coke still wants to get $2 a bottle, has to charge you $4. And that's why I'm bitching about gold and silver being way undervalued, because you're not seeing the inflation raise the prices of those as they should be. So as the dollar's losing value, why isn't gold and silver going up? Why is it sitting at 2,000 when it should be 20? Because they're keeping the price down like we're a bunch of fucking idiots and we don't realize that they're keeping the price down. And then, you don't want gold as the alternative to the dollar. They don't even tell you the dollar has no value. So once you realize it's the dollar that has no value, not the price of Coca-Cola going from $2 to $3, Once you understand what's really happening to you and you're getting fucked over, you're getting made off, as I like to say. Once you realize you're getting made off, then you can prepare for it. That's why you buy gold and silver, because they can't inflate or print them. Therefore, there's only a certain amount, and then the value has to go up eventually. It's being held down by COMEX, by JP Morgan, by London. They're holding it down. They're coming up with these phony derivatives, the whatever you call it, analytics. I know it's the other thing, the logarithmic stuff. I can't think of the word, but it's being held down because they automatically do that to keep the price down. But they're not done with supply and demand. It's a computer program that says, oh, if it hits this, then start selling and get the price down. That's not supply and demand. That's not the real value. That's why I say the real value is much higher. The real value of this is going to be 10 times higher. Like you can't even find it at the grocery store. I bought it for $25 in 1997. It's probably worth $500 by now because the value of the dollar is worthless. That's the point. This has no value. This has been printed so bad. This is worth 1 cent. And Egon tells you, oh, it's 99% gone. And so, but nobody really orchestrates the whole picture, which is what I'm doing right now. So the whole picture is this has no value. You get paid. You're getting nothing. Why are you working? When you pay taxes, you're paying less. Your savings accounts are a lot less. Your stocks are a lot less. Your bonds are a lot less. Every bit of things in dollars, stocks, bonds, your money at the bank are all worthless. This is why I'm telling you the Titanic story, because that's all on the Titanic. So you have to get off the Titanic and buy your gold and silver to get to safety. That's your lifeboat. But nobody understands it. So they're sitting there, and my friend at Toyota, who I'm going to punch in the nose next time, is sitting there. It took him for his guy who does, moldings or whatever to have him understand what's going on. Oh, well, if he's buying it, then then I should. Not that the professor told me to do it. Yeah, I'm really pissed about that because it's an integrity thing. Well, yeah, but what you say, I don't understand. I don't agree with. But if the plumber is buying gold, then yeah, we trust the plumber. We don't trust you, which gets you to you don't know who to trust and who not to. Now we get stoic, right? We got to stoically know who we can trust and don't. And I've been telling you this the whole time. Don't listen to Reichert and Rule and Maloney and all these guys. They don't understand it. They look at the gold price and put up a chart. They don't understand it. That's why you can't chart it, because the value of the dollar is gone. So as things become more clear, everything in dollars will go to zero. And then there'll be a gold price of everything. And that's why BRICS and the Russian ruble and the Chinese yuan will be backed by gold, because then people will go, because right now all these countries, so let's say there's 150 countries, are in US dollars. They want to get rid of them, but there's nothing else to get into. So they're stuck with the dollar, even though it has no value. So the whole world's sitting in dollars with no value. And the whole world's getting fucked over. And all the central banks are buying gold because they realize it. And Russia and China have gold because they realize it. So China realizes it 60,000 tons worth, and Russia's 40,000 tons worth. So they get that the gold has the value and the paper doesn't. And that's why they're getting out of the paper and into the gold. And that's what I'm telling you to do, and that's what I'm doing. So I'm getting out of my paper in the gold, because you can't inflate the gold. You can't print it. You can't make more phony gold. And yeah, they pull some out of the ground. Okay, but that doesn't really inflate it. Why is the USA so far behind? Because they're run by a bunch of communist Keynesians, basically, for lack of anything else. The MMT Keynesian guys are running the Harvard and the Yale, and these guys are running the country, and they don't understand Austrian economics. They're all crooks who want to print the money. So therefore, they don't get that printing the money will lose the value because it's not in the Keynesian playbook, right? It's in the Austrian playbook, but not in the Keynesians. Then they don't like Austrian because they can't print money. And they want to print because they're crooks, basically. So basically, the crooks running the country are a bunch of fucking morons and who don't see the train coming. The lights are flashing, but they're ignoring them, and they're saying, well, we'll just print more, and we'll just print more, and we'll just print more. They don't see that they can ruin the money. They look at it like, well, we need to print more money because of the output of the people working, and I don't know what they say. It's all Chinese to me, their definitions and their answers. I was watching an MMT Austrian debate, and the MMT guys, we can make money, and it's, it's for the tax. It's really money's for taxes. Money's not for taxes. It's a medium of exchange. It's a way to pay people who work for you without giving them bananas. You're giving them medium of exchange. Then they go buy and pay for goods and services. That's the whole point of money, not for taxes. So they don't even understand the concept. So you're being really, put it this way, it's the San Diego coach. Why was he coaching in San Diego? He had no idea what he's doing. He thinks going for it on fourth down is a 98% probability, doesn't understand it's a turnover, it demoralizes the team, and he should not be coaching. And he lost the team because of his stupid fourth down stuff, which I'm sure spread around the team, and they said, this guy's a fucking idiot, and they laid down last night to get rid of him. They play for the coach. Believe me, Vince Lombardi, you played for him. You played for Shula. You played for Bill Walsh. You played for Parcells. You love the guys. You played for him. You get idiots coaching you. You don't play for him. No, you don't. You play for a guy you resent. It's like me at work. If I get a good manager like I had at Mercedes or Hiram Walker, I play for him. When I get an idiot manager like I had at AAA, I don't care. I mean, it's like, this guy's a fucking idiot. He yells at everybody. You're not motivating me. I don't play for you. What I like about buying gold and silver is I don't have to play for anybody. I just go buy the gold and silver, and I'm playing for them. And then I'm just waiting for it to go up. Explaining it to people, I don't know why it's so difficult. People are headstrong into not understanding, but not believing. I can tell people the gold will go to 25,000 an ounce. And I would bet anybody that that's where it's headed. And yet nobody will believe me. Apparently they know, not that they know better, but they don't have a clue. So they don't understand it. They're comfortable in money. I think a lot of it's comfort. I'm comfortable in money. Therefore, with the money I have, I'm okay. You got 300,000. You think you're going to retire on it. It's going to be worthless. You're not going to retire for 5 seconds if you're relying on that. I'll hear these shows, these money shows. I'm like Saturday afternoon, I'm driving to the pool. And it's like, get your, we do financial planning for the retirement and the retirement age. You're buying stocks. You got to buy dividend stocks so you can get income. Their whole thing is you've retired, but you still need income in. And not if I did it right, I would have the money. I wouldn't need income. I would just start selling my portfolio and using the money for that. Like I'm going to do with my gold. Once the gold goes up, I'm going to sell a 1 ounce coin, eagle, and I'll get whatever, and I'll buy a house with it, and that's my retirement. And these people just are going along like nothing's going to happen. Oh, well, you'll have money you'll be in a dividend stock. There won't be stocks. I'll sell this stock. There won't be anything. Well, you need life to worry about taxes. Just buy gold. You don't have to worry about taxes. They can't tax gold. They don't know you have it. They can't tax it. So it's just really crazy. But this is what people are listening to. Nobody's talking that the dollar's going to zero. They're going along as if everything's fine. Oh, don't worry. When you retire in 10 years, you'll pull your gold out, you'll pull your money out, and you'll get dividend stocks like we'll have, and then you'll use that to retire on. And it's like, or you could buy like a bunch of gold and not have to worry about anything the rest of your life. But they don't bring that up because they don't get commission on it. See, you've got to be very careful when you're dealing with my Attack on Wall Street guy. He says, isn't that your job to look at the houses and make sure they're okay? No, their job is to sell you the real estate trust and make commission on it for the company. That's their job, not to go into not to inspect the house. He goes, aren't you inspecting the houses? And I'm like, what, are you out of your fucking mind? This guy doesn't take a step into a house. He doesn't care. You're not buying the houses. You're buying the mortgages, idiot. And again, that gets me into playing the game. You have to understand the rules of the game, which they don't, which is what I keep explaining to you in gold and silver. You can't print it, so it can't lose its value. The only thing that loses its value is this. This is what loses the value, not the gold. I don't have any gold out. If the gold, this will be my gold. I like these coins. So let's just say this is gold for shits and grits. So this can't lose its value. You can't print more. This does. But everything's in it. Stocks, bonds, your money in the bank, annuities, real estate trust are all in this. So you've got to get out of everything that this is. That's how you protect yourself. This is the gold, pretend, and it can't be inflated. That's the beautiful part of it. But the government doesn't like it because if I have 100 ounces of gold and it's 200 an ounce, I can only print $20,000. I can't steal. How can I steal? Well, why don't you buy gold and then let the price go up? So ideally, you have $200 ounce gold. You make it $2,000 an ounce. Then you can print more money. And there's nothing wrong with that. Gold's gold, so you can value it at whatever you want. But this is what people aren't getting. And when you listen to these retirement, it's always in paper. And that's why I say go ask the Romans what happened to them when they took the gold and silver out. Go ask the Brits and the French when they took their gold out and they went to war. And they sold their gold to go to war. Why are you going to war in the first place? And the Romans. The Germans ate the Romans up. So that's really the point. If you analyze it, like we're looking at Houston, right? Stroud's out, and Stroud is out. So you got Mills, and the receivers are questionable. That's a whole different team or look at Minnesota. Now they don't have Cousins. They went to Dobbs, and they go to Mullins. Cincinnati doesn't have Burrow. I mean, it's a different team, and that's what you have. You as you inflate the money, it's not the same. It's different. It's changed. The money's lost its value. As soon as people wake up, and you're awake, because I'm waking you, saying the dollar has no value. It's not prices going up. It's the dollar losing its value and going down. As soon as you get that concept, and it's a very easy concept, but you don't want to admit it. I got 200,000 in the bank. I don't want to admit that it's worthless and that I have to sell it and that I have to go out. Now, the salesman yesterday, Toyota, I liked him. He hears us talking, comes over. He says, I got 100 grand. What should I do with it? 75,000 in gold, 25,000 in silver. Thank you very much. And that's what I got 100 grand, and that's exactly what he's going to do. He had bought a $10,000 gold coin that was like 1910 or something. And he put it in a chain or something. He was going to wear it. And what do you think of this? I go, I would have bought 5 ounces of gold. I would not have bought an old gold piece for 10 grand because it's going to be jewelry, so it's not going to carry the value. Maybe it'll be, but it's going to have a hole in it. Do I know it's gold? Is it 1 ounce pure gold or is it mixed? So you're not going to get anywhere near the value because I don't know it's gold. But if you would have bought a gold eagle or a maple leaf cougar ram, we know it's 1 ounce of gold and there's no question. And it says 1 ounce of gold on it. So when you start bringing that in, we don't really know what it is. And I don't want to take the time. I'll go buy 5 ounces of gold if I want to spend 10 grand. So I kind of like said, no, it was a stupid purchase. I was being honest. But so here's a guy, I got 100 grand. I said 75,000 in gold, 25 in silver, and you'll never work a day in your life again soon. So as all the dollars are going to zero, which is what's happening in the whole fucking world, because they're all fiat, because George Soros and the Nazis arranged all this and put us into this system back in 71 to not back anything by gold, because they know if you don't back it by gold, it's going to zero. Every time in the history of life that's happened, it's going to happen now. And they can hold on to it a little bit more and people can go, oh, this. But I can't imagine. People were bitching about Madoff screwing them, right? Oh, my God, I had my money in Madoff. I had 200 grand and I was going to retire and use that for rent. And now I don't have any money. Okay, really? You thought Madoff was up and up, but he wouldn't tell you how he does it? I'm telling you how I do football. I'm certainly telling you how I do economics and why you get into gold and everything about it. I'm explaining it down to the nth. So that shouldn't be an issue. But with that said, it's easy to get out of. But so the people with 300 grand who are going to lose it all, I don't want to hear them start crying, oh, okay, they might, because the government's not helping them. There's no Madoff they're going to. They're just, I worked hard, I got money, it's in the bank, that's how I'm going to retire. And in about 6 months, they're going to be going, oh, shit, I don't have any money. Now what do I do? My 300 grand's worth zero. The government didn't help me. So that's what's going to happen, right? So that's why I want to help as many people as I can, saying buy your fucking gold and silver. And then your 300,000 turns into so many ounces of gold and silver. And then when it goes down to zero and you get Madoff, we'll be over here going, gold's 35,000 an ounce. I bought it at 2. Silver's 2,000-3,000 an ounce. I bought it at 25. Okay, I'm fine. I didn't get Madoff. If you think and you're stoic and you ask the questions and try to have an open mind and go, why? Then it's very easy. And I'm telling you, I'm force feeding you exactly what's going to happen. I don't know if you believe me or don't. Most people do because I can explain it. But if you're doubting it, all the people in Alabama doubted it. This idiot at Toyota doubted it. The salesman believed it right away. I got 100 grand. I'm going to go buy gold and silver. He got it right away. The sales manager, I did not like his answer. Well, I needed my friend who goes and buys gold. Now we believe it. It was my wife. What kind of marriage are you in that you can't take the money and turn it into gold to try to save your family? I give the gold to Jenna. I don't think she has a clue. She knows it's going to go on, but I don't think she believes me or she's questioning or it's taking too long. I don't know what it is, but when it finally goes, then I'll hear from her. And Daria gets it. She can't wait to get some gold. I show her I got this gold and she's all happy and oh good, we'll be taken care of. Jenna gets it, but I don't think she knows. Her friend Natasha now, and I told her, she says, but I don't have any money. How can I buy gold and silver? And so that's the last part of the story. How do we help the poor people? And my advice to her was silver's 25 an ounce. Don't tell me you can't buy 1 ounce of silver every couple weeks. I mean, I don't buy that. You should be able to buy it. It's these other people that are rich that I don't understand. Well, I got my 300 grand in the bank, so I'm going to hold on to that. Well, you can't lose. If you buy gold and silver, you can't lose. You take it back to the coin store and you get your money back. I mean, he'll buy it from you in 30 seconds. There'll be no question. And it's not going to go down from the $2,000 it's at now. It can only go up if you just give it a little bit of time to get going. And that's what you need to understand. You're getting made off on the dollar, not on gold and silver. So you can't lose on gold and silver. It's zero risk that you're going to make a fortune on. So I don't get why people don't do it, but they're comfortable with their money in the bank. But when it goes to zero and they go, oh my God, we lost all our money. Well, it's because it's your own fault. You didn't listen to the professor, or you didn't understand it, but you should have done some research. Now, I know it's hard. The other girl at dinner, Anastasia, she's into gold. She says, where did you learn about all this? I said, my master's. She got it. She understood. She's got gold, but she wants to learn about it, but she doesn't know where. And I get that. On Google, you're not going to find it. Austrian economics on Google, you're not going to find it. You need to buy Adam Smith, but that doesn't really, like I said, this is the book. This is the book that I had in school, The Wealth of Nations by Adam Smith, but it really gets into buying. It really gets more into like people and the division of labor, that some guy's an accountant, some guy's a lawyer, some guy's this, some guy's that, more so than the economics. And the economics is really what I'm talking about, supply and demand. So if you really want to learn up and read it, that's what I read. Hazlitt and Adam Smith and von Mises and those. I can give you a list. I got in my notes different people that Hazlitt, I think. I can go through that. Let me get that. Maybe tomorrow we can walk through it. But I'm telling you everything you need to understand. Now, do you trust me? I hope so. I have no reason to lie to you because I'm not selling you anything. You don't buy the gold and silver from me. If you got 100,000 in cash and you buy gold with it, I don't benefit from it. I benefit that you're safe. So the guy at Toyota who now moved 100 grand into gold and silver, and the guy at the dirty shop I used to work at who went in with $100,000 check and bought 50 ounces of gold, and then he came back in with another 100 and bought silver. He'll benefit from it. He'll retire. He listened to me. And I guess that's the frustrating part. People listen, but I don't know where people don't trust. That's a real hard thing to swallow when you say buy gold and they don't. And you're like, why not? You know, what's going through your mind that you won't buy it? What are you afraid of? You're not going to go broke because it can't. It can't go to zero because it can't be printed. It's whatever comes out of the ground. They make little pretty coins with it. You can't fake it. You can't make fake gold and then it devalues it. You can print money, and that's really the key that I'm getting. This is being printed and printed and printed. There's trillions of dollars of this. It can't hold that. The value goes to zero. It's called inflation. But if you keep printing something, it goes to zero. It has no value. Nobody wants. There's too much of it. I don't want it. And that's what you got to understand with this. They keep printing this. It's just a printing press. It's paper. That's all this is. But you can't do that with gold. I can't. If this was gold, I can't print it. I can only dig it out of the ground. There's only 3,000 tons a year for the whole fucking world. That's nothing. That's not going to inflate it. So understand that. It might be 300 tons. I don't know, or 3 tons, or maybe it's 3,000 ounces. I don't remember what comes out. It's not a lot that comes out that's going to inflate it. This is safe. It can't be inflated. That's the danger of inflation. It is not the purchasing power. It is you've inflated the money supply, which makes it worth less, which then in turn the effect is prices are go up because it takes more dollars to buy it. So the prices aren't going up, the dollar is going down, and you can only do that by printing. And you can't print gold and silver. That's the beauty of it. So it's a no-brainer, but I guess people just don't listen or don't understand, or they're smarter than we are. Bobby has the same thing. Nick, Greg, and John, we all have the same thing, trying to tell our friends and family to buy gold, and they look at us like we're crazy. And I'm in the hot tub saying it's a no-brainer, and people look at me like I'm crazy. I go, fine, then go fuck yourself. When the dollar goes to zero, you're going to get made off. And I warned you, but you're smarter than me. You understand that inflation is not really happening, or they're not really printing dollars, or they are printing gold, or for whatever your reason, which makes no sense. You have probably no idea, right? Greg and John, they think we're crazy, but are they analyzing why we're crazy? Why we're saying, well, we benefit from it? Where are they getting the ideas? So in other words, where did this Toyota guy get the idea that he should keep his money in the bank or in Bitcoin? Oh, it's safe there. No, it isn't. It's not safe. That's the part I really don't understand, is you explain it, and then his wife doesn't believe it, so he doesn't move it. No, you take charge. You're the head of the household. You take charge. I'm moving my money into gold. I am going to take care of the family. And that's what I do with Jenna. I don't give her money. I give her gold. Well, I give her money for food, but Daria, I give her money for food. But when I meet her soon, I'm going to give her gold. And we'll see what happens if I can ever get to fucking Russia with the stupid fake war going on. But that's what the war is about, the gold-backed currency. And they don't want Russia to do it. And Russia won the war, so they're going to do what they want. And BRICS and China, they're all in need of gold-backed currency. And we just hope it's a regular rate of a free market rate for gold, and not this bullshit, the government coming out and saying, it's worth 2,500. I don't think that'll happen in Russia and China. I think it'll be, 10 or 15,000. And I think they want to ruin the U.S. is why they're doing it. Then people will realize the dollar has no value. Once that happens, it's all over for the dollar. The problem is the U.S. Does the U.S. have any gold so they can come out with gold-backed currency? Because if they don't, they're fucked. Because who would buy the dollar? Nobody will be in the dollar anymore. Everybody will be in the BRICS currency because it's gold-backed. And then everybody gets made off here. Oh, your dollar's worth zero. Not the Madoff fund where you got $100,000 in Madoff and now it's gone because he went broke. It's your money in the bank is going to be worthless. So the sooner people realize the dollar has no value is the sooner that they that it'll go to zero. Well, it's already at zero. The sooner they realize it, the sooner nobody will want it. It'll have no value. And then there is no other currency to go to. You go into gold, unless by then the BRICS has the gold back currency. Then you'll go into that because it's gold back. That's why you gold back the currency. You gold back the currency to get confidence. Otherwise, it's not gold back. Everybody knows it's going to go to zero, especially if the US goes to zero. Nobody's going to trust money ever again unless it's backed by gold. And that's what it should be. These people have no idea that the ship is sinking. I mean, it's just, dudes, we hit the iceberg. What do you think's going to happen next? The water's coming in and the boat goes down. We know we've already hit the iceberg and we're buying as much gold as we can. We get it. That's That's it. So it just is really strange that that's where we're at. And to convince people that that's where we're at, well, look at the Titanic. To convince people that the boat was sinking, you almost couldn't do it, right? You had to wait until the water was now halfway up that people actually realize. So that tells us something about people. Until they realize, until they see it, they don't believe it. So until they see the dollar won't have a value, and until they see everybody buying gold, they won't believe it. So like my Toyota friend, he's now the salesman listens to me and goes and buys it. He go, oh yeah, this guy knows what he's talking about. The manager had to see his buddy buy it at the store that he ran. Once he saw that, although I have gold and silver, I mean, I've been buying it, but once he saw his friend do it, then he believed it, right? So there's people need the visual. I can tell you not to smoke cigarettes, you're going to die of cancer because you're smoking poison. People won't believe it. I can tell you to not eat sugar, you're going to get diabetes and die from heart problems and strokes. People won't believe it. And then the best is when they start getting lung cancer from smoking, they stop smoking. So once all the water's in the boat and the boat's going down, then I better get to the lifeboat. Why do people need to see that? It's beyond me that people are that like intolerant of people helping them and or buy gold or you're gonna starve to death. Well, yeah, but I don't believe it. Until I see it, I don't believe it. And you're like, oh my God. Can we go back? And that's why I bring in examples of the Romans. We are no different than the Romans. They got rid of their gold and silver out of their money and they collapsed. We have done that. In 1964, we got rid of the silver. 71, we got rid of the gold. How we're staying afloat, I don't know, but we're going to collapse. I guarantee it. That's why they printed. That's why they're $35 trillion in debt, and they printed $20 trillion that is just giveaways for votes. And people don't quite get it. In 2008, we survived that. Well, in their mind, they see what's happened. We survived the Great Depression. We survived 1980. We survived 2000. We survived 2008. So we'll survive here. That's the biggest challenge I get from some people is that, well, we're okay. We're America. We've always been okay. And, I remember the rib guy telling me, well, what's different? I go, brics. And I go, brics is coming out with a gold-backed currency. That's the difference. There'll be an alternative, and that'll end it. And he's starting to understand. I don't know if he can tie 2 and 2 together and understand brics, but I think he is. But that's really, people must see it. I know in football, I give a game. What did I give last week? I gave Minnesota under. Well, people see that it ended 3-0 and we won going under on the Minnesota game. Then they start believing me. Oh yeah, he does know what he's doing, but I have to see it first. Then I believe, because I can't believe it because Mo can't pick. But when the professor picks and then I see he's won, then I start believing that he can do it. But I have to see it first. And I think that's what we're dealing with gold and silver, Greg, John, Bobby, Luke. When you're talking to your family to buy it, they have to see it. And they don't see it because gold hasn't gone to 10,000 an ounce yet. Once they see it, then you've got them for life that they'll go, yeah, if the professor says something, I'm listening. But until that happens, they'll not believe. They don't know what to believe, but they're not smart enough to do the math on their own. And I think that's what we're dealing with. So how do we get them to believe us is the thing. Like, well, we're gonna fucking joke about stuff like this. Yeah, I'm gonna come on every day on YouTube and teach economics, but I don't know what I'm doing. It's just ridiculous. But that's really, I think the problem is people have to see it. So the Toyota manager saw his friend do it. Now he puts two and two together, says, yeah, the professor told me, and now I see my friend doing it. Now I believe it, even though I was doing it. I could have showed him the gold that I bought. This is all the gold I buy. Now you see I'm buying the gold. I told him I've emptied my bank account. It's all in gold and silver. But it still doesn't, two and two don't equal four. The people that kind of know me, when I tell them, they follow me. They understand. The girls at the lifeguards where I swim, two of them, they believe me. They understand it. And then their dads are telling them. So if their dad told them and then I tell them, they go, yeah, okay, he's got a master's in economics. Yeah, I believe him. So I think that's a lot of it is getting the comfort of that. I know what I'm talking about, and then seeing it. So that's really the problem. People with diabetes, they're all big and fat, and they don't know that they're diabetic, or, oh, I'll be okay because I'm living today, and then they have a stroke the next day because their blood pressure's at 200 and they're 200 pounds overweight, but they don't see it, so they ignore it, and it's a shake my head moment, right, Bobby? How these people just don't. So I guess some people you can tell them and they can understand it. And this is all cases of life, right? You can tell a girl I love you, she won't believe it, right? Yeah. Until you kind of show her, until you prove it, or whatever games they make you, whatever hoops they make you jump through to believe it. Yeah, I've heard that before. And the guy said he loved me and he didn't. He was just using me and da. That's sort of what I go through with Kenzie, where I said, send me a video saying, hi, Howard, it's me, Kenzie, and she won't do it. And she asked for money, and I says, not until you send the video, because until I see you're real, I don't believe you. But that's a little different issue here. Here you can see my smiling face. But that's the scammers. They just send it, and then you're supposed to assume that they're real. And that's where you ask for just the proof of hello, not anything else. But that's a lot of life, is the games. It's all that stuff. But, same thing in poker. You watch the guy and you got to see he bluffs. Oh, he's a bluffer. Is he really a bluffer? And then he starts bluffing, and then you go, okay, he's a bluffer. Then you got to see it to know. But if a close friend says he's a bluffer, I think you believe it right away, because you believe other things that your friend said. So I think that's what really our hindrance is. People need to see it to believe it. And if I tell you don't eat sugar, you've got to really get an understanding. That's why I show you the doctor. That's why I show you the clips. So I'm saying it, but you don't believe me. But if you see the doctor say it, or you see alligator say it, then maybe you'll go, oh, okay, yeah, I guess, professor's saying it, alligator's saying it, or the doctor's saying it. Okay. All I'm doing is repeating the doctor. I see it and I say, this is what the doctor said. I don't try to I'm not a doctor, but in gold and silver, I can talk over Egon and alligator, and I know more than they do. And that's the difference. So I can smell a rat a mile away in economics or money or gold or football. I get real frustrated listening to these idiots talk football on the radio or TV or ESPN. They're fucking clueless. Oh, the Lions' record is 9-4, and that one game out of the number one seed. I'm like, dude, they'll be lucky to make the playoffs. Forget the one seed. They're not going to be the one seed. They're not going to be the two seed. They're not going to be they're not going to be able to beat Frisco, Dallas, or Philly. So they play Dallas soon. They're going to get their ass kicked, and then they can't beat the Niners and they can't beat Philly. So it's a moot point. They're at best, well, they'll be the 3 seed if they win their division. But again, listening to these idiots, I immediately know they're full of shit. But that's really where I want to get you guys at, is where you understand why buy gold? Because the dollars gets printed and the gold doesn't, basically. So if you understand the Fed prints money, and if you print it, it goes to zero. If you understand that concept, then you should have no problem explaining that to your friends and family who don't believe you, and then off you go. And it's as simple as that. That's really you're asking the why. Why diabetes? You have too much sugar, so cut out your sugar. So if you cut out the high fructose corn syrup, and you cut out the carbs, you cut out the sugar, you fast to let your body heal, because the body will heal itself. And so then you understand what causes it and how to solve it. And I think if you do that with football, and if you do that with gold and silver and economics, then you're way ahead. Then you understand it, right? And now if somebody tells you, you can challenge them. And if your wife says, oh, I don't think we should empty our bank account for gold and silver, you tell her to fuck off. You said, absolutely. The dollar's going to zero. Oh, I don't believe it. Well, they print and print and print. If they keep printing, it won't have a value. Nobody wants it. 80 countries don't want it. So then you have to have a trusting wife. And if she doesn't trust you, you shouldn't have married her in the first place, or get a divorce, because you're with the wrong person if they don't believe you. If people don't believe you, you don't want to spend. This is stoic. You don't believe me? Goodbye. I don't have time for you. I'll move on. I'm very fine moving on. And I think that's a big problem that people have, is they well, she's my wife, he's my husband, I can't leave him. Bullshit. I divorced after 17 years. I was sick of it. I was like, and Jenna kind of wants to marry me, and I'm like, no, I don't need to be married. I make a lot. She was confused with me on the trip that I have other friends, and she was like, I'm your girlfriend. That's it. And I'm like, I have a lot of friends, and I'm going to keep having friends. If you don't like it, I don't really care. I'm not attached to you. And that, today I got a text from her, okay, now I understand everything. I don't know if she was talking about that, but I think she is, but all I know is when she needs something, I'm there for her. And that's all you should look at. Not that I talked to Daria. This has got nothing to do with you. And if I go meet Daria, it's got nothing to do with you. It's between me and Daria. It's my life, and that's what I want to do. But that's where people got to get to. They got to get stoic and be their own person, understand, have an open mind. Oh, I got to get out of money and into gold. I got to get out of stock. I don't want to be in the bank. Once you know that, then it's easy, and then you live accordingly. So anyway, any other questions, comments? 3 hours, time for dinner. Free pick Denver and Alabama. Tomorrow, 3 games: Mini Cincy, Pitt Indy, Denver, Detroit. Again, we like Denver. And I think the under in the Minnesota game, we got to see if Jefferson's playing. It's a 40. And, you got, again, it's the backup quarterback. I went under with Stick and O'Connell, and 80 points later. So I'm not sure if I go under because it's Mullins and Browning. I go under because it's an 18 defense and a 22 defense, probably. But again, Minnesota plays a lot of low-scoring games, like the 3-0 game last week. So I think this will be lower scoring and close. And so you just go, who needs the game, and off we go. So there's got to be a purpose to it. That's why math doesn't work in picking football games. People with their algorithms and their derivatives and all this shit, it's like, yeah, it doesn't work. But go ahead, try it. Maybe you can figure it out, but you can't because there's too many variables involved. Anyway, so be stoic, means be your own person. Don't let the noise come in. Don't let the vampires come in and bother you with their bullshit talk. I'm in the locker room now, and I'm hearing people talk. I don't even pay attention. I don't want to hear you. I don't want to see you. I just go on about, I get into my bathing suit. I jump in the shower, I run in the pool. I shower out, and then I just get dressed and I leave. And it's like, I get hellos, and who are you? And what are you going to tell me? We're going to have a chat about gold, and you're going to not want it. So I don't even want to waste my time with it, because it's very emotional and energy. Like now, after this, I'll cook a steak, and then I'm gonna take a nap and turn on the TV, because this chills this. I need to recharge after this. But I'm doing 3 hours, so I'm charged for 3 hours, and then my battery runs out. Be careful with electric cars. Nobody really wants them. You got battery problems. You got charger problems. Why get into it? If you do get into it, have a good reason. But I asked the Toyota guy, what's your interest rate? He's like 8% now. So if you buy a $32,000 Camry, it's going to cost you $1,000 a month for a $32,000 car. You buy these higher electric cars at 60, 70,000, you're paying a ton. So he is making some sales, but it's because of people just need cars. But I would think they're buying used cars more than new cars, and especially the electric ones. I mean, all these companies will go broke trying to sell electric. And that's the intimidation of the government, which is not their role. Anyway, that's football. So tomorrow we've got the college, which we went over, and the pros. Saturday football. Full slate Sunday, Monday night, Philly and Seattle. Should be a good game. You got a few good games this week. We got the Jets, Miami. We've got Dallas, Buffalo, Baltimore, Jacksonville, Philly, Seattle, the Detroit, Denver game. The mini Seattle game should be good. It'd be better if it was Burrow against Cousins. Then I'd bet my house on the over in that game. And KC, look for KC and Philly to be really strong this week. Both of them off of 2 losses, and both of them pissed off. So especially KC, you fuck around with Mahomes and the offsides, and he's pissed. Look out. And against New England, I mean, they'll kill New England. So I heard him talking about who the next coach will be, and will it be Harbaugh? Will it be Belichick? Why would you want to hire Belichick? What has he done that, it was all Brady. So if Brady's not there, Belichick doesn't win anything. So Brady's the guy, and he's gone. And Belichick, the last 3 years, sucked. They're a fucking Z team right now. New England's a W team with a 21 defense. Why would I want Belichick? I'd take like I said, the Washington coach used to be at Fresno State. He's first on my list because he turned around Penix. They're in the fucking playoffs with this coach, DeBoer. He's outstanding coach. I would take him in a heartbeat if I was San Diego. And you'll win. And he won't be that expensive. That would be who I would take right away. And the Notre Dame guy, he's terrible. Anyway, I think that's about it. Let's see where gold's at now, although we know it's paper. We still like to see it go up. At 5 o'clock, it's at 2019. It was 2044. Then the Fed sold a bunch at 2 o'clock, driving it from 2035 down to 2017. Funny how nobody sold an ounce of gold, and gold went down $18 because of algorithms. What the fuck is that? I mean, that's what's totally illegal. And that's what you need to understand. This is all fake. This is all a Ponzi scheme. This is not the value of gold. Gold is at least 20,000 an ounce with all the shit going on with the money, because if the money is printed to zero and it has no value, how is gold not going up? It's being manipulated, which we understand. So if it's up to 2,000, it's 20,000. And that's just my thought, but we don't really have a real physical price. Just know if you can buy it at $2,000 is the steal of the century, and silver at $23.84 is the other steal of the century. So do that. Anyway, I will be on at, well, what time are these games tomorrow? So let's see. College, 11 a.m., Georgia Southern, Ohio. And then 2:15, Jacksonville, Lou Lafayette. The NFL is 1 p.m. So I'll be on at 11 o'clock for the 1 p.m. Minnesota Cincy game. 4:30, Pitt and Indy, and then 8:15, Denver and Detroit. So we got to wait for 8:15 for the money ball. But I'm not getting on at 11 o'clock for the Ohio game. That's ridiculous. And a bowl game starts at 11 o'clock. And anyway, so we'll look at what's going on tomorrow. So figure 11 to 1, and then same thing on Sunday. And all I can say, I think I've explained the gold and the paper and the dollar as well as I can. If there's questions, please ask. I don't get too many questions on it, so I'm pretty sure that what I'm explaining you're getting, and most of the people that I talk to here are buying gold and silver hand over fist. Like I said, the salesman ran with 100 grand and bought gold and silver, and only the sales manager was too stupid to listen to me, had to listen to his friend, and then the wife gave the okay. So not good. My other friend, the finance manager, wasn't there, and then I need breaks. So I've called 2 people, and I'm waiting for callbacks. So I hope my mechanic can call me back soon, and then we can get the brakes on. But they wanted at Toyota, it was 600 for the fronts and 600 for the back, and I need rotors. I only got 60,000 miles on the car. I don't think I need rotors. But I need an independent to look at it to tell me if I do or not. So I want to get my mechanic, but I don't know. Waiting to hear back. All right, everybody. Well, enjoy your night. Enjoy your weekend. Again, $100 for all the bowls. So you can buy it today. And $200 for all the bowls and all the NFL through the Super Bowl, all the locks, all the plays, everything. Questions and comments, you can email me. www.teaserking.com. All right, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you tomorrow. All right. Take care.